subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Please go out and look for it. Come out, Staryu, Squirtle. Please follow me and search for him. Dragging Misty out of the Pokemon Center, Xiaozhi released all his Pokemon. Let them split up to look for traces of Charmander. Misty also released Staryu and Squirtle to help. As for her Goldenine, forget about it. Although it is raining heavily now, the water on the ground is very shallow, obviously not enough to support it swimming on it. Let go and take care of it. Pika Pika, then Ba, Roar, the Pokemon who received the order immediately patted their chests to show that they were covered. Then not long after, Pidgeotto, an aerial unit with faster flying speed and higher flying altitude, returned. It found an orange-red figure on a stone in the distance, which should be Charmander. Well done, Pidgeotto. Please tell everyone to come back now, and then take Misty and I over to find Charmander. Xiaozhi was overjoyed. Then after being praised, Pidgeotto happily drew circles with the tips of his wings in the air. Then he quickly called back all the other Pokemon sent out by Xiaozhi. He also took on the role of guide. Under the leadership of Pidgeotto, Xiaozhi and Misty walked for about 10 minutes before they saw a prominent rock. There's also a Charmander standing on the rock. His eyes were fixedly looking into the distance, full of expectation, just like a stone watching the husband. At this time, its contest condition was extremely weak, and the flames on its tail were much smaller than usual. Although it can still hold on, it will obviously burn out completely within a few hours. Charmander, don't wait here any longer. You have been abandoned by your trainer. That scumbag will never come to pick you up again. Misty just couldn't stand it anymore, but Charmander just glanced at her and made no other move. Then he looked into the distance, expecting Trainer to come back to pick him up. Trainer has already said that he must wait here obediently for his return. It won't believe what others lie to it. What should we do? Xiaozhi, why not just subdue Charmander and send it to the Pokemon Center? If this continues, Charmander will definitely not be able to hold on. Xiaozhi shook his head. It's useless. Charmander's baby ball is still in that scumbag's hand. We can't use the baby ball to take Charmander in. What should we do? Misty was obviously panicked and didn't know what to do. He didn't want to watch Charmander's life pass in front of him. Leave it to me. Xiaozhi stepped forward to replace Misty and held an umbrella for Charmander and himself. Then he looked at Charmander intently. Is it worth it for that scumbag? With that said, he took out the Pokemon Pokédex from his pocket. Play back what Damien said and did in the cafeteria just now. Pat, as the water dropped, Xiaozhi felt his arms were wet. Charmander couldn't hold back her tears, like pearl falling from a thread. The hope in his eyes no longer disappeared, replaced by loss. Your original trainer didn't know how good you were, and even denied the efforts you made for him. But there's still a few scum like him. Charmander, are you willing to travel with me and see the scenery of this world? Climb the highest mountain in Trainer and experience the feeling of seeing all the small mountains at a glance? Xiaozhi looked at the lost Charmander sincerely and said silently in his heart, System, use Charmander's exclusive tempering. Chapter 47. Charmander returns to his heart. The best charcoal looking at Xiaozhi's eager but sincere eyes. I remembered that in the video just now Damien threw it away and used it to talk among friends. Charmander hesitated for a moment, then slowly put his paw on Xiaozhi's palm. At exactly this time, a warm current rose out of thin air in the body, dispelling the cold, fatigue, and pain wherever it passed. Charmander only feels that his contest condition is better than ever. His eyes were wide open and round. Is it him? Trainer Damien's face appeared in his mind, and then quickly faded away, completely losing its place. Instead, it was Xiaozhi. Xiaozhi looked at Charmander's movements and felt happy. Although Charmander has not been officially conquered, Charmander's attribute and intimacy cannot be seen. But obviously, Charmander has returned to his heart. Damien, your Charmander is very smooth. Now, it's mine. Thinking of Lao Peng's various performances in the future, Xiaozhi couldn't help but feel a little excited. The Pokemon that Xiaozhi conquered in the original plot were undoubtedly the best among their kind. Even if you train for 3 days and 2 days of fishing, you can compete with those trump cards that other trainers have trained hard for. Among the many Pokemon that have been conquered, Lao Feng's talent and combat power can be said to be at the forefront. What's more, it can also carry out Mega Evolution. Whether it's Mega Charizards or Mega Charizardi, they are both strong and handsome. Good looks and strength coexist. Xiaozhi, congratulations. Misty then stepped forward to congratulate Xiaozhi, with a hint of envy in her eyes. Not a water-type Pokemon, though. But Charmander's looks and talent made even her feel a little attracted. I really don't know what that scumbag was thinking, and he was willing to abandon such a good Charmander. But it happens to be cheaper Xiaozhi. By the way, Xiaozhi did not receive the Usangia card issued by Alliance when he set off. Earl Dervish's partner is just a common rookie trainer from Pikachu in the Kanto region. Actually, while traveling, I captured the Pokemon from the Yuuzhan family that others dreamed of in the wild. Collected the 3 attributes of grass, water, and fire. No one has such luck, although saying this is a bit unkind to Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander. But I really have to thank the person who abandoned them in the first place. Otherwise, Xiaozhi would not be able to meet them and establish a bond. Follow Xiaozhi, a trainer who is capable and passionate about Pokemon. Definitely better than those scumbag trainers of their predecessors. Maybe it's a two-way journey in another sense? Misty's thoughts kept diverging. It's too early to say congratulations. Charmander's precious ball is still in the hands of that scumbag. Xiaozhi, he shook his head slightly. Speaking of Charmander's trainer Damien, he is also at the top of the birth list, ditching the Charmander on the front foot and giving it false expectations. Charmander suffered from hypothermia in the heavy rain and almost froze to death. If Xiaozhi and the other 2 people who were passing by hadn't brought it to the Pokemon Center, it would have died. After seeing that Charmander had become stronger, Hozu shamelessly wanted to take Charmander back. It's really an old lady eating porridge, toothless. Woo! Charmander let out an anxious growl. Xiaozhi has seen Damien's true face clearly, and he doesn't want to return to Damien's hands again. It wants to travel with Xiaozhi. If it can't get its baby ball back from Damien, it can't be Xiaozhi's Pokemon. Maybe you will choose to return to the wild in the end? Don't worry, Charmander. I'll get your baby ball back. And also let the guy who abandoned you see that it's not that you are too weak, but that he simply can't take advantage of your strengths. Seeing Charmander's worry, Xiaozhi lowered his head and touched Charmander's round head. You have to turn the faucet as early as possible. After Charmander evolves into Charmeleon and Charizard, it will no longer be so cute. There will also be horns on the head. In short, it is not easy to trade. Misty, let's go and meet that scumbag for a while. Xiaozhi hugged Charmander and put it on his other shoulder. Then he called Misty and walked toward the Pokemon Center together. That scumbag is still talking there. Pika Pika, Pikachu said hello to his companion who was occupying Xiaozhi's other shoulder. She is not the arrogant Charmander from the future. She seems a bit timid, trying hard to establish a good relationship with Xiaozhi's Pikachu. Looking at the deep darkening sky in front of me, the darkness around me seemed to be swallowed up by evil spirits. But standing on Xiaozhi's shoulders, Charmander felt inexplicably relieved. On the way, when Misty wasn't paying attention, Xiaozhi took out the best charcoal from the system space and gave it to Charmander. Charmander's tail flame suddenly became a lot bigger than before. It was so frightened that it quickly raised its naturally hanging tail to avoid burning Xiaozhi's clothes. His big, round eyes looked at Xiaozhi with sparkling eyes, and he felt an even greater sense of belonging in his heart. Damien? Who is this? If you're not familiar with me, don't contact me again. I'm afraid Xiaozhi will misunderstand. Xiaozhi took in Charmander's performance from the corner of his eye, and a smile flashed in the corner of his eyes. Speaking of which, among the Pokemon that I like the most in the original plot, Charmander is definitely at the top. It was not very well behaved when it was a child, but later it evolved rapidly due to various reasons. After his level jumped to the highest level in the team, he started to become less obedient. The main reason is that the trainer level is not enough and the commands given are not suitable for Charizard. It is equivalent to a senior engineer encountering a stupid layman boss who gives blind orders. It's strange to have a good face and be able to obey orders. Showing off is already considered a good attitude, but when the stupidity comes up, it's a flamethrower. But since it is me now, this situation will definitely not happen. Even the unruly old spray has to be submissive. Chapter 48. Charmander's Revenge. When he returned to the Pokemon Center, the scumbag Damien was still bragging about his past with his friends. At this time, two figures walking towards the door attracted his attention. There was a familiar one standing on the shoulder of one of the figures. He abandoned Charmander, who managed to retrieve him several times. "Why did you come back? Didn't I ask you to wait for me there?" Subconsciously, Damien thought that Charmander was the same as before, that he found Charmander again after being abandoned by him. There was a hint of disgust and impatience in his tone. Charmander didn't come back by himself. "Do you know that if it weren't for us, he would still be standing there stupidly waiting for you to pick him up until he dies?" His nonchalant look made Misty angry all of a sudden. He rushed forward and grabbed him by the collar, almost lifting him up. Although not as good as Xiaozhi. In front of Xiaozhi, he is like a little loser who will fall over at a push. But being able to drag Xiaozhi away by his ears, Misty's force value is obviously not low. Damien managed to escape with the help of a swarm of dog legs. So what? It's too weak and not worthy of me at all. So what if I throw it away? Isn't it like a pug chasing you back every time? What? Are you feeling distressed? Do you want it? No problem. I'll exchange it for Pokemon that are enough to make my heart flutter. What if I leave this Charmander to you? It was meant to be thrown away like trash anyway. Now, I will let you fight Charmander. It is not Charmander who is trash, but you. Xiaozhi no longer tolerated this guy's barking and walked forward with cold eyes. Why should I fight? Or with this Charmander, I don't want. You could try it. Xiaozhi didn't say any unnecessary harsh words. A true, ruthless person never bothers to talk. When an outsider heard a simple sentence, it fell in Damien's ears, but his pupils shrank suddenly, and the hair on his back stood up. As if a rabbit was being targeted by a natural enemy, the whole person felt terrified, but he still acted tough on his lips, trying his best not to show his timidity. Come on, it's nothing more than a useless Charmander. Go ahead, Squirtle. Ever since I saw Charmander defeated by Squirtle with a water gun, he then pestered his father at home and used his connections to get him another Squirtle. Then he abandoned Charmander, who he originally looked down upon. It's just that Charmander can find it back by following the scent every time. In order to solve the problem completely, he deceived Charmander and asked Charmander to wait on the stone for him to come back to pick him up. But I didn't expect that two trainers, a man and a woman, would actually come to the door with Charmander. These two people just dared to embarrass themselves in front of so many people. I must give that ruthless Charmander a hard revenge back. In the field, Charmander and Squirtle each occupy a side. Damien's unabashed expression just now completely shattered Charmander's illusions about him. For Charmander, Damien is no longer its trainer, not even a passerby. At this time, its eyes were filled with fighting intent. Defeat Squirtle, not only to prove myself, but also to prove that he was not wrong in choosing Xiaozhi. Damien is a complete garbage trainer. Squirtle, use the water gun to deal with it. Damien commanded confidently. Not long ago, when he used Charmander to fight someone else's Squirtle, the other party defeated him easily like this. This time, when attacking and defending the aliens, the loser will definitely be Charmander. Pokemon, Charmander, level, LV8. Pokemon, Squirtle, level, LV9. Charmander and Squirtle are of similar levels. Neither is very high. But due to attributes restraint, it was extremely normal for the previous Charmander to be unable to defeat Squirtle. Of course, if the command is proper, it is not impossible to fight. In the final analysis, the main reason is that Damien as a trainer is too rubbish. He is about the same as an insect-catching boy who has received a serious education from trainer, and it is not impossible that he is even worse. Charmander, maximum range smokescreen growl. Because Charmander's level is too low and he doesn't know many skills, Xiaozhi can only use some simple tactics. Rival is Squirtle, which restrains Charmander in terms of attributes, and its level is slightly higher. Be sure not to be hit by the opponent's water gun. Once it hits, Even one hit can't finish Charmander. It will also greatly reduce its physical strength, and its defeat is certain. Then it is necessary to use Smokescreen to cover Squirtle's sight and reduce its hit rate. As for Growl, it is prepared for the next close combat fight. Reduce Squirtle's attack early. The only damage skills Charmander currently possesses are Grab and Ember. The power of Ember's skill itself is low, plus it is resisted by the opponent's attribute. Even if you carry the best Charcoal, the effect is not very good, and it is not as good as fighting Squirtle up close. As long as Squirtle doesn't withdraw in time, Charmander has a good chance of winning. Ginny Squirtle, shrouded in smoke, lost his target and could only scream randomly. I hope Trainer can give it some guidance. Damn it, Squirtle, get this damn smoke screen out of here. Jenny? Damien's command level is worrying. Not to mention helping, Squirtle is completely confused. It doesn't have the means to break up Smokescreen. Just like that, Squirtle, whose vision was blocked, spit out several water guns one after another while being shrouded in Smokescreen. As expected, the incarnation of the body Tracing Master didn't hit Charmander even once. I was so tired that I was out of breath. With its physical strength, being able to release the water gun skill so many times in a short period of time is already the limit. Charmander, catch me now. Through the powerful perception brought by the power of Waveguide, Xiaozhi is not as confused as Damien. It was easy to seize the opportunity where Squirtle was severely lacking in physical strength. Command Charmander to come forward and engage in close combat. In just a few blows, Squirtle, whose physical strength was severely damaged, was beaten to the point where he lost the ability to fight. Damn it, Squirtle, hold on. The venue was shrouded in Smokescreen, and Damien had no idea what was going on. I could only hear Squirtle screaming in pain after being beaten. It's over, Butterfree gust blow the smoke away. Xiaozhi released Butterfree and blew away the Smokescreen released by Charmander. The situation at the scene is clear at a glance. Charmander's body was as clean as ever, with no signs of injury. At this moment, he stepped on Squirtle's turtle shell with one foot, his face full of victory and the pleasure of having slapped Damien in the face. As for Squirtle, lying there softly, his eyes had turned into mosquito coils. Damn it, is this still the useless Charmander he knows? Damien was shocked, and then a sinister look appeared on his face. He took out the baby ball from behind. Charmander is good. No matter how strong he is, it will only be his. Charmander, I'm here to pick you up. Come back. Wauki Chapter 49, Mission, World's Mightiest Charizard. What greeted him was not Charmander's obedience as before, but a flame from Charmander's mouth spit up. His whole body was scorched black by the spray, and his hair was completely burnt. The skin was cracked and severely burned. Not everyone has a mega rookie physique like Xiaozhi or an immortal body like the Rockets trio. Although Charmander is only level 8, such a flame is enough for him to drink a pot. This ember is almost catching up with the flamethrower released by normal Pokemon, right? Even if there is a top-quality Charcoal, it cannot be released by a normal Charmander. Sure enough, Lao Spray's excellence has been reflected since he was very young. That is to say, I met Damien, an ignorant person who abandoned such a talented Pokemon like Lao Peng like a pair of worn shoes. It's a good thing that he was blind, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to get it. Xiaozhi's eyes brightened as he looked at Charmander's unusual ember. Ding. Trigger the mission. World's Mightiest Charizard. Task description. Use Charizard to defeat Dodo's Charizard, Charizard Valley King, Dandy's Gigantamax Charizard, and Alan's Water Storage X-Spray. Climb the world's mightiest Charizard, making Damien regret his life after abandoning Charmander. Task reward. Charizard's exclusive ability edition Scroll 1. Fire Divine Beast Priesthood, Charizard's exclusive. At this time, a piece of mission information passed through his mind, making Xiaozhi's eyes become even more longing. Charizard's exclusive ability adds a scroll and a Fire Beast Priesthood. From now on, this is the rhythm that will take off. Those who were beaten were not just people like Articuno who had no priesthood. It can only be said that he is worthy of being an official son, and even the system seems to have extra preferential treatment. Before he was conquered by himself, he was successively rewarded with Charizard breeder manuals that far exceeded the growth method of Charizard Valley. In Charcoal, Fire type's ultimate carry item. Now, even ability-added scrolls and priesthoods are coming. It's just that although the mission rewards are good, it is difficult to complete them. Dodo's Charizard, Alan's Water Storage X Spray, Dante's Gigantamax Charizard, and the King of Charizard Valley. This is not a good thing. However, with systematic help and the veteran's excellent talent, the problem should not be a big one. If you really can't wait a few years, wait until your Waveguide grows to the master level and project part of it to the old spray. Not to mention those Charizards, the mythical beasts are also made for you to see. Suppressing the thoughts in his heart, Xiaozhi stepped forward. After a while of exploring around the burned Damien's waist, he took away the treasure ball that belonged to Charmander. Damien pressed the release button while looking at him in shock. Charmander is free. Immediately, he subdued Charmander with his treasure ball. You. This is forcibly snatching other people's Pokemon. You're breaking the law. I want to find Officer Jenny. No need to look for it. I'm already here. At this time, a cold voice came from outside the Pokemon Center. Officer Jenny in uniform walked forward with a cold face, holding a pair of small silver jewelry in her hand. In Damien's confused eyes, he cuffed him with a snap. Trainer Damien, reported by an enthusiastic trainer with his real name. You have been implicated in multiple cases of Pokemon abandonment and near death. Please leave me now and be investigated. At the same time, due to Charmander's active choice, you lost Charmander's trainer status. Has been changed to Xiaozhi Trainer in Alliance official filing. In the astonished eyes of Damien and his henchmen, Officer Jenny announced Damien's punishment. If nothing else happens, the bad things he did in the past will also be dug out. You'll have to stay in prison for at least 3 to 5 years from now on. There's no need to discuss this matter, even if his powerful father tries to get someone. Ouch! Charmander, who successfully got rid of the scumbag trainer, danced excitedly, squatted, and jumped into Xiaozhi's arms. This also became one of the few black histories of the domineering old spray in the future. Xiaozhi, you are so awesome. A scumbag like this finally got the punishment he deserved. Misty's eyes suddenly became a little bright. Xiaozhi was very impressed by the adoring eyes of the beautiful girl and felt a little vain in his heart. After he used the Pokemon Pokédex to capture the evidence, he contacted Professor Oak, who was well established in Alliance. Assist Professor Oak's connections called Officer Jenny, who directly determined the nature of this incident. Damien, this guy, it's hard for the family to turn around. After all, Professor Oak is not a vegetarian, and most of Alliance's top executives are willing to sell him a favor. This is much more relieving than simply beating up Damien in the original plot. Moreover, there is no room for criticism in the matter of conquering Charmander. This is an endorsement from Alliance. Are you saying I snatched someone else's Pokemon? You have a way to die. Ding completed the task. Damien received the punishment he deserved and received the reward. Magical Speed Potion 1. Ding, trigger the system task. Fight against the super ancient Dragonite that appears in Bill's lighthouse. And make sure not to lose within 10 minutes. Task reward. Ultra Ancient Dragonite's favorability increased to 255 points. Advanced Rare Candy 5. Used by Pokemon below LV70. Level +1. Fighting the super ancient Dragonite? Do you want not to lose within 10 minutes? What is the difference between this and the difficulty of a kidnapped, cute, lowly begging a perverted uncle to let her go? Chapter 50. Bill's Lighthouse. Targeting the ultra-ancient Dragonite in the end. Xiaozhi said he was disgusted, but he accepted the task with great honesty. Let's see next. Anyway, his system is not that kind of coquettish BCH. There is nothing to lose if the mission fails. If it is completed, the harvest will be huge. With 5 high-level rare candy, Pokemon below LV70 can be used to level up. You must know that 460-469, that is the category of elite Pokemon. In other words, it only takes one to promote an elite Pokemon stuck at 469 to champion level. The reward for the mission against the super ancient Dragonite is a full 5 pieces. If you let those elites know this, why don't you beat them out of their wits? And compared to another reward, 5 high-grade rare candy is nothing. The intimacy level with the super ancient Dragonite reaches 255 points. Doesn't this take off directly? Originally, Xiaozhi didn't have much idea about super ancient Dragonite. I just wanted to go to the beach near Bill Lighthouse and tame the skinny crabby I met in the original plot. By the way, I took some photos of the super ancient Dragonite before researcher Bill makes the research data public. Like the original Ho-Oh photo, go to Professor Oak and blast some coins. Now it seems the plans have changed. Xiaozhi's mind was racing, thinking about how to complete this extremely difficult task. Of course, this is not inevitable. When necessary, Xiaozhi will also choose to surrender. It would be bad if your Pokemon were damaged because of this mission. Isn't it just 5 high-grade rare candy? Isn't it just the 255 points of intimacy of Super Ancient Dragonite? If you get the Quartz Conference Champion, you can still get the high-level rare candy. As for the Ultra Ancient Dragonite, Xiaozhi believes that his Pokemon will not compare in the future. And compared with those mythical beasts that will establish PY relationships in the future, the Super Ancient Dragonite is just a small Karami. Suppressing the thoughts in his heart, Xiaozhi glanced at the empty hall because Damien was taken away and his friends dispersed. It was a rainy night outside with lightning and thunder. Just spend the night at the Pokemon Center. Together with Misty, we went to Nurse Joy to go through the accommodation procedures for another day, and Xiaozhi returned to the room. Pokemon, Charmander Potential, Championship level, IV 8 ability, Fire skills, Grab, Smokescreen, Ember, etc. Intimacy, 255, Full value 255, Carrying items. The best Charcoal increases the effect of Fire-type skills by 50%. The old fan is worthy of being an old fan. He has the same potential as Pikachu and has reached the championship level. Compared with the elite, quasi-elite level of other Pokemon that Xiaozhi has recovered so far, it has opened up a clear grade. No wonder Bulbasaur and Squirtle joined the team after them in the original plot. But he came from behind and soon became the trump card in the team, except because it has undergone complete evolution. Species strength is naturally higher than Bulbasaur Squirtle. Also because it is better in itself. Even if a large part of talent is wasted due to hasty evolution, it is still a unique existence. But now, after tempering, all the hidden dangers caused by previous encounters with unkind people have been made up for. No more wasted potential due to hasty improvements, plus the breeder method goes far beyond Charizard Valley, as well as the ultimate Charcoal and other possible carry items in the future. The peak of the old spray will far exceed that of the original plot. Regarding ability, Xiaozhi doesn't have much idea. Fierce Fire is also very good. It is triggered when the physical strength is less than 1/3, which can improve the effect of Fire-type skills. Pair it with the Carry Charcoal. Charmander's already excellent Fire-type skill talent will be fully utilized. Although the Sun Power ability is good, the effect of Fire-type skills will be improved under sunny day or sunshine weather effects. But the price of continued reduction in physical strength is somewhat difficult for Xiaozhi to accept. If the opponent had thicker skin and thicker skin, Charmander would fall by himself before defeating rival. This is far less controllable than Fierce Fire. And whether it's fire or the power of the sun. Abilities after Mega Evolution will be replaced by X-Spray's Hard Claws, Eye-Wise Angry Sunshine. In the future, whether you get rewards from the system or find ways to get them yourself, Xiaozhi will definitely get the Mega Evolution Stones for X-Spray and Y-Spray. So whether it is Fierce Fire or the power of the sun, these two abilities are acceptable to Xiaozhi. With a beautiful vision of whether to evolve into X-Spray or Y-Spray in future battles, Xiaozhi fell asleep. Pika Pikachu found a suitable position next to Xiaozhi's pillow and fell asleep. While I don't know if it's because of Pikachu's influence or because the intimacy with Xiaozhi has reached full value, Charmander did not return to the baby ball, but also lay down next to Xiaozhi's pillow. He raised his tail subconsciously to avoid burning the textiles on the bed and fell asleep. On the second day, the heavy rain that lasted all night finally stopped. The wind was sunny and the air was fresh. Because I want to complete the Super Ancient Dragonite mission. Plus, there's the crabby dwarf who lives on the beach near Bill's lighthouse to conquer. Xiaozhi did not go straight in the direction of Vermilion City, but deviated slightly and headed towards Bill Lighthouse. Misty's confusion disappeared without a trace after Xiaozhi said she could play and swim on the beach. Since embarking on the journey with Xiaozhi, she has hardly swum again. Just go and relax on the beach over there. It is worth mentioning that after conquering Charmander, the number of Pokemon that Xiaozhi can carry has reached the upper limit of 6, so he must transport one to throw away. After thinking for a moment, Xiaozhi teleported Butterfree back. He also asked him to remember to exercise according to his usual exercise plan in the Professor Oak backyard. By the way, battle with other trainers' Pokemon that are fostered there. I hope that the next time I see it, the level has been upgraded to 430, successfully crossing the threshold of the elite level. This pair has quasi-elite potential and gains the invisibility benefit of being a Xiaozhi Pokemon. It is not difficult for Butterfree to directly upgrade as long as he accumulates enough combat experience. It's just that this guy was still a little reluctant to leave Xiaozhi. Wang Hao Hao. This also makes Xiaozhi eager to increase the number of Pokemon he can carry. Otherwise, you can only rotate the Pokemon in your hand every time you visit City. Now that you have conquered it, you must take responsibility. You can't just put them behind Professor Oak Laboratory and forget about them. Remember them when you need them. On the way to Bill Lighthouse, Xiaozhi also took a stroll. The levels of other Pokemon are on the high side and increase slowly. But Charmander, who just joined the team, is a complete newbie. If you don't practice this well, how can you grow into a mature and independent person in the future? Pokemon, Charmander, level 4-8, LV19. A few days passed, and Charmander's level increased by 11 levels in one go. There's only one level left to cross a large section. The two of them, Xiaozhi, finally arrived at the beach near Bill Lighthouse. Chapter 51. Swimsuit Misty. Subdue Krabby, wow. The beach is here. I want to change into a swimsuit and go swimming. Misty, who had been looking forward to it for several days, saw the saffron beach in front of her. With a cheer, he immediately set up a tent on the beach and changed into his swimsuit in the tent. Xiaozhi glanced towards the tent inadvertently and didn't look away again. Well, do you want to remind Misty that her tent is pretty light transmissive? Xiaozhi touched his chin and thought in his mind. Xiaozhi, does my swimsuit look good? After a while, Misty came to Xiaozhi wearing a swimsuit and struck a pose. The light green one-piece swimsuit is decorated with lace, looking pure and full of vitality. It's a pity that Misty is still young and not that kind of talented player. In some aspects, she is inferior to those mature elder sisters, but it also adds a bit of green flavor. All in all, not bad. Although Misty didn't comment when she saw Xiaozhi, her eyes never left. She raised her white chin proudly and arrogantly and ran to the sea. Release Squirtle's brother, Staryu, and Goldeen. Like a mermaid, I jumped into the sea and swam happily. Xiaozhi is suddenly cute when Misty, who has always been a carefree person, suddenly becomes cute. Not to mention, it is not unreasonable for Tsundere to have a deep-rooted place among the otaku community in previous lives. All 5 Pokemon, except Pikachu, were also released from the Pokeball. There are no training missions today. Let's have fun at the beach for a while. A balance between work and rest is necessary. It just so happens that they have never been to the beach, so give them a holiday and have a good time. Pick up, then all the pets immediately cheered and Splash came. Water sports, water sport. Play with sand and play with sand. And those who play other Pokemon, like Pidgeotto. It was holding a mini Krabby in its paws. Let the other party experience the feeling of flying normal. Poor mini Krabby's eyes are almost turning into dizzy, mosquito-repellent eyes. Etc. Bill Lighthouse, mini Krabby. Could it be the one he originally wanted to conquer? It should be. The Krabby that I had tamed was something that even Professor Oak was very surprised to see. Little Arnold and Bill Lighthouse Beach. There will not be 2 crab talents appearing at the same time. It must be the one Pidgeotto caught. Although it is small and pitiful, it looks malnourished. But if you take good care of it, it is still very good. At the Indigo Plateau Conference in the original plot, he even completed the feat of 1 through 3. He also managed to evolve into a Kingler. not mentioning the fate between the other party and myself. Just saying that this potential is worthy of being conquered by myself. Being a second-team Pokemon shouldn't be a big problem. Thinking of this, Xiaozhi waved to Pidgeotto, flying in the sky. Pidgeotto come down, stop playing. Compare one Pidgeotto flew over obediently. By the way, Krabby, who was a little dizzy after flying several times, was placed on the beach nearby. Xiaozhi, why don't you come down and swim for a while? Don't you know how to swim? Do you want me to teach you? At this time, Misty swam several laps in the sea with satisfaction. I found Xiaozhi still staying on the beach, not even changing into his swimsuit, climbing up from the sea, shaking off the remaining water drops on his fair arms. He stepped forward and said proudly, "She seems to have finally found a place where she can win over Xiaozhi. Hey, is this Krabby? It's so small, but it's also very cute even if it's small." Arriving in front of Xiaozhi, Misty found Krabby, who was placed by Pidgeotto on the beach. I was surprised at how small Krabby is, almost only one size larger than an ordinary crab. Curiously, he knelt down and fiddled with the mosquito-repellent Krabby. He inadvertently uttered words that made Xiaozhi want to drive. Shaking his head, he eliminated the very tortured thoughts in his mind. Xiaozhi also squatted down and took out a blank Pokeball from his waist. Knock it on a mini Krabby and subdue it. Immediately, the Pokeball disappeared and was teleported to Professor Oak. Xiaozhi, how did you subdue this stunted Krabby? Looking at it like this, it's hard to say whether it can evolve in the future. Misty looked a little surprised when she saw that Xiaozhi had subdued Krabby. Xiaozhi, isn't he someone who won't conquer non-high-quality Pokemon? The Pokemon that have been conquered are all the best in their respective groups. Why are you even interested in such a tiny Krabby now? Misty, although it is small, it can become very big in the future. Believe it or not, you will just have to wait and see at the Indigo Plateau Conference. Xiaozhi vowed to do so. Pokemon, Krabby level, IV6 potential, Gym level ability. Machamp Pliers attack cannot be reduced by the opponent in any way. Skills, Leer, Water Gun, Hardened Intimacy, 140, full value 255. What to carry? None. Krabby's gym level potential may not be noticeable among the Pokemon he has conquered, but he can already be regarded as the only Norman among the Krabby tribe. Krabby with gym level potential. As long as you are not a true elite or champion trainer, you will not ignore it. What's more, Krabby still has the opportunity to improve his potential through the Potential Enhancement Ribbon in the future. The potential of Butterfree before was not only at the gym level. Did you use a Potential Enhancement Ribbon, Iron, later to upgrade it to a quasi-elite level? Although I don't want to believe that such a dwarf Krabby has good potential. But Xiaozhi's various reliable behaviors before, as well as his strict requirements for conquering Pokemon, Misty subconsciously chose to believe it. And looking forward to what kind of surprise this inconspicuous mini Krabby can give me at the Indigo Plateau Conference. As Xiaozhi said, Professor Oak's laboratory, the teleportation instrument lights up again. Professor Oak quickly stepped forward to check. Hey, it's Xiaozhi. The Butterfree breeder sent back last time was quite good, and it should be the trump card he selected to participate in the Indigo Plateau Conference. I wonder what Pokemon was teleported back this time. There were 3 Squirtless and Butterfree's Pearl in front. Professor Oak has great confidence in the quality of the Pokemon sent back by Xiaozhi. Excited heart, trembling hands. Professor Oak opened the Pokeball sent back by Xiaozhi. Krabby? Professor Oak? If it hadn't fit inside the Pokeball, he would have thought it was just an ordinary crab. By the way, has Krabby ever grown so small? Xiaozhi may also think that this Krabby is too small. Do you want to use it as a control group for your research? Xiaozhi, this guy has really grown up since he started traveling. Professor Oak was relieved. Xiaozhi's small claw crabs were raised in a small water tank next to the large water tank where his grandson Gary collected Krabby. Chapter 52. Super Ancient Dragonite appears and negotiates after teleporting Krabby away. Xiaozhi also changed into swimming trunks and went into the sea to play. He used practical actions to prove to Misty that his title of Little Idiot in his previous life was not just a boast. Misty, who thought she could finally outdo Xiaozhi, put on a kitten-like face. In the evening, the sun sets. Xiaozhi, who had been playing at the beach all day, grabbed Misty, who wanted to set up a tent for camping, pointing to the Bill lighthouse, not far away. Misty, let's stay there for the night. Xiaozhi, are you sure that the lighthouse can live in people? And we don't seem to be familiar with them. It would be very embarrassing if we were kicked out. It's okay. There's someone above me. Come to Bill's lighthouse and use the Pokemon Pokédex distributed by Professor Oak. Xiaozhi successfully proved his identity and gained the trust of researcher Bill, who was wearing a Kabuto holster. According to Bill's researcher 623 himself, he did this to better study Kabuto's psychology. Although Xiaozhi feels that this research method is not reliable at all and is full of flaws. But the fossil resurrection technology has not been invented yet, and the living fossil Pokemon in Dasha Valley has not been discovered yet. This is really one of the few ways to study fossil Pokemon. Bill emerged from Kabuto's code and told Xiaozhi and Misty. For so many years, he has been studying a mysterious and unique Pokemon. Tomorrow, he will use the voice of the mysterious Pokemon he collected as echoed voice. Attract that mysterious Pokemon over. Knowing that the super ancient Dragonite would not come until tomorrow, Xiaozhi wanted to complete the task. He immediately expressed his hope to stay and broaden his horizons. Bill, who has been alone for a long time, also wanted someone to share with him. Plus, there's the Pokemon Pokédex given by Professor Oak as proof. He was very relieved about their origins and immediately agreed to let them stay overnight. There was nothing to say all night, and the next day was full day. Misty also wants to conquer a Krabby, preferably one that is much stronger than the one Xiaozhi conquered. In this way, Xiaozhi Squirtle is the boss of her Squirtle. Her Krabby is the boss of Xiaozhi Krabby. It's even. It's a pity that her luck is normal. After searching for a long time, I couldn't find even one Krabby, which is a common water-type Pokemon in the Kanto region. Xiaozhi is not as boring as Misty. It is rare to come to the beach, and the super ancient Dragonite will not arrive until night. Simply organize Pikachu and the others to carry out special training at the seaside. The content of training also changes according to different Pokemon. For example, Pikachu's task is to use a small surfboard to surf behind Xiaozhi. Xiaozhi hopes to learn surf skills in this way. In this way, Pikachu's attribute attack surface will also be greatly increased. It is difficult to travel all over the world with 100,000 volts. It is true that 100 flowers bloom. Squirtle's training mission is to improve the water gun's hit rate. When it evolves into Blastoise in the future, it will become much bulkier. The positioning will also become a turret-type output hand. Then the hit rate is very critical. Charmander as its special training partner. The task is to dodge Squirtle's water gun attack. Use this to train its dodge ability. Whether you evolve into Charizard now or later, flexibility is very important. In the future, if Charizard is flying in the sky and is shot down by someone else, he will lose his air superiority in vain. Moreover, the future veteran is extremely good at using fire-type skills. Also has good performance in close combat. After training in the Charizard Valley, he defeated many Charizards inside and became a being on the upper level. Moreover, X-Spray's attack and special attack species strength are quite excellent, making him a typical two-face player. The Hard Claw ability increases the power of its contact moves. Close combat is inevitable in the future. Then, its reaction speed and dodgeability are a very important attribute that affects combat effectiveness. There's nothing wrong with it since I was young, because I need to recharge my batteries at night for the super ancient Dragonite. The special training lasted until 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon when Xiaozhi called it to a halt. As time goes by, the Golden Crow sinks in the west and the Moon Rabbit rises in the east. With Bill's operation, not long after, a huge figure came riding the waves. Pokemon, Super Ancient Dragonite level, IV-80 boss, LV-80 for 79, which has exceeded the upper limit of champion level, has entered the realm of third-level gods. Although he is only at the bottom among the third-level gods. But it is also the strongest Pokemon that Xiaozhi has seen since his travels, except for Ho-Oh's surprising glimpse. If you can complete the task, establish a PY relationship with it. Without provoking the mythical beasts, wouldn't it be a good idea to walk sideways in the Kanto region? Don't worry then. After completing the Vermilion Gym mission, Ma Zhishe will pull me into a heart-wrenching conversation. On the other hand, it is Ma Zhishe who should be worried. Xiaozhi looked at the super ancient Dragonite, and his heart was filled with excitement. At this time, Zheng and Xiao Lei's eyes were fixed on the super ancient Dragonite. This size is beyond all Pokemon they know. Does this really exist in the world? This is the truest thought in their hearts. The super ancient Dragonite followed the sound, thinking it could find a companion. When I arrived here, I found that there was nothing else but a lonely lighthouse. Disappointed, it turned around and planned to leave, continuing its lonely wandering. A voice stopped him. Dragonite, I know about your other companions. Are you interested in staying and talking to me? I saw Xiaozhi holding the talons of the BB-0.1 bird with both hands, and with the help of Pidgeotto, he got to a position where he was eye level with Dragonite. Negotiations were initiated against the ultra-ancient Dragonite. Xiaozhi, come back quickly. It's dangerous out there. Misty looked at Xiaozhi, who was only a short distance away from the super-ancient Dragonite, her beautiful eyes filled with worry. She didn't expect Xiaozhi to be so brave. That was a huge Dragonite that I had never seen before. They don't even know what each other's temper is now. Researcher Bill's originally excited look after seeing the super ancient Dragonite turned pale at this moment. It's over. Someone is going to die. Also, this boy is the rookie trainer whom Professor Oak values and recommends. If he died here, how could he explain to Professor Oak? This young man is so reckless and immature. How could Professor Oak agree to such a trainer going on a trip? Chapter 53. Mission accomplished. Dragonite thugs. Shocked Misty Bill Xiaozhi seems to be reckless, but in fact he decided to make a fool of himself after much careful consideration. If he doesn't say anything, he will attack the super ancient Dragonite as soon as he comes. It is absolutely impossible to complete the task of fighting against it and not losing within 10 minutes. And it is very possible to hit GG in a short time. Maybe his life and that of other Pokemon will be in danger. Negotiating in advance is the only way to break the situation. Even if he decided to negotiate, Xiaozhi only dared to step forward after using the Waveguide to realize that the super ancient Dragonite had no ill intentions. Otherwise, he would rather not receive this mission reward and ensure his own safety. It's not like what would happen if there was no reward for this mission. If you have a system, you just need to develop it slowly. He can definitely become a strong person standing at the top of the Pokemon world. There is no need to go to the final gambit for temporary resources. That's not bravery, that's stupidity. Of course, if there is no danger, Xiaozhi is willing to try. Like now, the situation may seem tense, but it is actually far less dangerous than outsiders think. He, Xiaozhi, is as steady as an old dog. Hearing Xiaozhi 27's words, the super ancient Dragonite stopped and wanted to see what this human boy had to say. The super ancient Dragonite was very concerned about the information he told about his companions. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made a special trip here, just because of Bill's response from Lighthouse. Dragonite, it's a long story, and it won't be explained clearly in a short time. And you think it's not very convenient for me to be like this, isn't it? Xiaozhi said, looking upward. After all, Pidgeotto is not a Pidgeotto. Although its wings are also very powerful, its size is limited. Obviously, it is not enough to carry a person as big as Xiaozhi in the sky for too long. At this time, Pidgeotto was feeling a little tired. Super Ancient Dragonite heard what Xiaozhi said and thought it made sense. He stretched out his paw and gently lifted Xiaozhi, hanging on Pidgeotto's paw onto his head. Plan passes. Seeing that there were no flaws in the preliminary plan, Xiaozhi couldn't help but feel happy. Then it was proposed that there is a special kind of electrotherapy massage in the human world. Many classy people enjoy electrotherapy massage services while talking. Then the picture appeared, and Dragonite was warmly invited to experience it too. As a super ancient Pokemon, Dragonite has lived long enough, but it has obviously not seen the dangers of human hearts. After discovering that Xiaozhi and Pikachu were very weak and could not pose a threat to it at all, they agreed out of curiosity. Under Xiaozhi's command, Pikachu used moderate electrocurrent to perform electrotherapy massage on the super ancient Dragonite. Wherever the electrocurrent passed, there was a tingling sensation, which made Dragonite narrow his eyes in enjoyment. This human boy is honest and won't bully me. Electrotherapy massage is indeed very comfortable. No wonder classy people like to do electrotherapy massage when chatting. I like it equally. It shows that I am also a tasteful Pokemon. While Xiaozhi was communicating with the super ancient Dragonite about the news he knew about super ancient Gengar, Alakazam, and Jigglypuff, while nervously paying attention to the information in the task panel, found Pikachu doing electrotherapy massage to the super ancient Dragonite. The countdown on the mission panel to fight against the super ancient Dragonite and not lose within 10 minutes was indeed beating. As expected of yourself, got stuck in a wave of Tongzi bugs. The mission requirement says it's a battle, but it doesn't say how to fight. The way to judge is to use skills to attack the super ancient Dragonite. If you let Pikachu do electrotherapy massage, why doesn't it count as an attack? Didn't anyone notice that the expression on Dragonite's face was distorted with pain? In this way, Xiaozhi paid attention to the countdown in the task panel. While controlling the speaking speed, he would occasionally interject some things about the human world. The ultra-ancient Dragonite, an old house dragon, also listened with interest. What surprised him even more was that the human boy in front of him could actually understand what it said. It was a good outlet for the loneliness it had felt for countless years. 5. Ding! The mission is completed and you will receive the reward. Advanced Rare Candy 5. Ultra-Ancient Dragonite Intimacy is increased to the full value of 255 points. The proper rewards have been issued into the system space and can be taken out at any time. Once taken out, they cannot be put back again. Finally, before the ink in Xiaozhi's stomach was squeezed dry, the task was completed and the rewards were distributed in time. Through the power of the Waveguide, Xiaozhi can clearly feel the closeness of the super ancient Dragonite beneath him to him. PY succeeded. If I don't mess with the mythical beasts in the Kanto region from now on, it can almost be said that I'm walking sideways. Xiaozhi is in a good mood. The super ancient Dragonite, who got the information he wanted from Xiaozhi and satisfied his desire to share and communicate, left. When leaving, Xiaozhi was given an exquisite bell. Ring it when necessary, and it will rush over to help as soon as it hears the sound. Although it is a pity that the super ancient Dragonite was not directly conquered. But if you think about it carefully, there is no difference between this and subjugation. No one would dislike a bodyguard and thug who is always on call. And it also saves a lot of money on raising Pokemon. With the huge size of the ultra-ancient Dragonite, Xiaozhi's flesh ached from eating even one meal. Let eat at the buffet outside. After Xiaojing left, Xiaozhi found it difficult to even raise Flash Gyarados, a little loser. I don't want to raise another big loser. Speaking of which, I just took a lot of photos of ultra-ancient Dragonite. You could just find Professor Oak and get some gold coins. Otherwise, we won't be able to afford Flash Gyarados. You can't ask your mother Delia for money, right? Let's not talk about whether 437 is enough or not. Anyway, he can't bear this face. Except for what his mother gave him when he started traveling. He didn't ask for a penny later. I even hid a little bit at home. It made my mother blush in front of the neighbors in Pallet Town. Everyone praised Xiaozhi as a filial child, and Delia was blessed. At the same time, the situation of several other trainers departing from Pallet Town this year is not so good. With Xiaozhi as an excellent control group, they are naturally disgusting in the eyes of their parents. It is said that even Gary had some of his funding stopped by Professor Oak. I can no longer travel in sports car. Even my girlfriend has gone away a few times. The last time Delia told Xiaozhi, Xiaozhi almost couldn't help laughing. Well done, Professor Oak. He doesn't even have a girlfriend yet. So Gary takes his girlfriend group on a trip. How can this be done? Pika, the skin master who performed the electrotherapy massage for a full 10 minutes, was so tired that he could hardly speak. Pikachu, thank you for your hard work. Xiaozhi touched Pikachu's head. I decided that after Pikachu reaches the level, advanced rare candy must be the first to give it to it. These 5 high-end rare candy are made by the leather master little by little. Need more points. Grab Pidgeotto's paw and return to Bill's lighthouse. Xiaozhi was greeted by two complex eyes, almost like a palette. At this time, Xiaolei and Zhengpai were shocked and numb. Chapter 54. The two were shocked. Misty confessed no. With such a big Dragonite, you just jumped in the face? In the end, everyone was fine. It seems that he even had a good conversation with the giant Dragonite. In the same ninth year, how beautiful are you? Hey, come to your senses. Xiaozhi waved his hand in front of Misty and Bill, whose eyes were dull and shocked. Young man, I recognize your fearless, adventurous spirit. If you devote yourself to Pokemon research, you will be an excellent researcher. The world is like this. Heroes are judged by their success or failure. If it succeeds, Xiaozhi will be the best. If you fail, you will naturally be reckless and brainless. At this moment, Bill had forgotten his previous dissatisfaction with Xiaozhi's impulsive behavior. What impulse? This is clearly the fearless spirit that our generation of researchers lacks. At this time, he was eager to get more information about the super ancient Dragonite from Xiaozhi. Thank you for your praise. Thank you for your praise. Xiaozhi is humble all the time, hiding his merit and fame. The biggest benefit has been obtained. Just keep a low profile. Bill wanted to talk more with Xiaozhi, but Xiaozhi really didn't have much to share. He was just chatting with the super ancient Dragonite to delay time. What valuable information can there be? Even if I have it, I can't give it to you for free, right? What I said before is enough to reward you for attracting the super ancient Dragonite. Sorry, Xiaozhi needs to rest now. Let's talk about anything tomorrow. Misty interrupted Bill's continuous casting in time. 213 rarely overcame his fear of Xiaozhi's super strength, stretched out his hand, pinched Xiaozhi's ears, and pulled him away. Xiaozhi, it was so dangerous just now. Why did you run over? Do you know how worried I was? Pulling Xiaozhi to the free room of the lighthouse, Misty opened her mouth and started scolding him. In the end, the tears finally couldn't be held back and fell like pearls falling from a thread. After recovering from the shock, she had time to be afraid. She couldn't imagine what she would do if something happened to Xiaozhi just now. Seeing that Misty, who has always had a strong temper, started crying in front of him regardless of her image, it was because of her own affairs. Xiaozhi is also a little numb. To be honest, he really couldn't see Stephanie crying. Not to mention Stephanie, who cares about her? Feeling warm in her heart, she wiped the tears on Misty's face with a slightly clumsy approach. There's no way. I really have no experience. Okay, am I okay? Stop crying. Normal's words to coax the child made Misty cry even harder. This time I still threw myself into Xiaozhi's arms and cried. I'm such a sassy sister, Xia. Have you become a soft and cute peeping monster? Although only temporarily. Xiaozhi was completely shocked. Beauty, Misty, favorability, 79-89. At this time, Chin's beauty panel, which he had not seen for a long time, jumped out and made his presence felt. After a long while, Misty raised her head and wiped the remaining tear stains on her fair cheeks. Hello, Xiaozhi. What's wrong? Be my boyfriend, and you won't be allowed to leave any dangerous places I won't let you go to. After saying this, Misty tilted her head proudly, but she kept looking at Xiaozhi from the corner of her eye. Although she has always been secretly in love with Xiaozhi, it is really difficult for her to let her arrogant person say such proactive words. I always think that Xiaozhi will take the initiative next time. If it weren't for the promotion of this super ancient Dragonite incident, she could see her own heart more clearly. I don't know how long it will take. Misty was very nervous at this time. Does Xiaozhi like him or not? Judging from the usual performance, it should be a little bit. Otherwise, last morning, I wouldn't have pointed a gun at myself. Thinking of the charming scene that morning, Xiaolei couldn't help but blush slightly. But if Xiaozhi likes herself, why doesn't she tell herself? He doesn't seem to be the kind of idiot who is not good at expressing his emotions. Thinking of this, Misty started to get confused again, especially when Xiaozhi didn't respond for a long time. Her heart was even more anxious. Xiaozhi, you should speak quickly. Do you know how embarrassing it is to wait so long for Stephanie to confess her love? In the blind spot where Xiaozhi couldn't see, Misty held the corners of her clothes tightly with both hands. You still have to put on a proud and arrogant look on your face, saying, Checky, if you don't agree to it, it's up to you. Ahem, Misty, have you thought about it? At this time, Xiaozhi finally responded. What's the meaning? Misty was a little confused. I mean, I'm a philanthropic person, and there may be other Stephanies in the future. Can you accept that? Now that I have decided to be a scumbag, I have to make it clear that I am a scumbag. It's better to explain beforehand than to be found out later. You thick-browed and big-eyed Xiaozhi, you still have such thoughts in your heart. I really misjudged you. Bah, scumbag. Misty spat, slapped Xiaozhi on the foot again, and left angrily. Have you passed the test? Little scumbag, Xi touched his chin. Ding, the special beauty mission is completed. Become a travel companion with Misty and establish a partnership. Obtain reward, reverse Chinga badge. After wearing it, you can maintain a harmonious relationship in the harem and never fast forward to the hatchet plot. Elementary psychic, item, and equipment rewards have been distributed to the system space and can be taken out at any time. Once taken out, they cannot be put back again. Ability rewards can be fused at any time. Please ensure that the surrounding environment is safe and quiet when merging. The emergence of system rewards confirms Xiaozhi's idea. All I can say is that Sundra's thoughts are really hard to guess. Neither agree nor disagree. You just stepped on me and said scumbag. Be good. We don't want to learn from Subhoodie. Stinky Xiaozhi, bad Xiaozhi. I've been so good to you, but you still want to find another Stephanie to travel to in the future. Misty returned to her room. She took out the pink pig doll Xiaozhi bought for her in Nibby City from her bag, and she always carried it with her. The more I looked at the pig head, the more it looked like Xiaozhi's hateful face. After punching it more than 10 times, I managed to calm down. I must ignore Xiaozhi for 3 days. But wouldn't 3 days be a bit long? How about a day? Ignore him for a day. See if he knows he is wrong. Misty thought angrily in her heart, and was no longer so angry at Xiaozhi's scumbag thoughts. Although monogamy is still the mainstream in the Pokemon world, polygamy is not without it. Some people's wives even encourage their husbands to find other women. Well, I should have figured out what a bad guy this guy was that morning. It's too late to regret now. Misty bit her silver teeth lightly. Early on the second day, Xiaozhi and Misty bid farewell to Bill and set off for Vermilion City. Xiaozhi had long thought of saying something heartfelt to Ma Zhisher. Get the mission reward and let Pikachu be promoted to elite. Before setting off, Xiaozhi used the super ancient Dragonite photo taken last night to ask Professor Oak for a wave of gold coins. A little less than the Ho-Oh photo, but there are still 100,000 Alliance coins, which is Xiaozhi's urgent need. On the way, Misty resolutely fulfilled her vow to ignore Xiaozhi for a day. But it was quickly broken by Xiaozhi. Xiaozhi, you are not human. Chapter 55. Receive rewards, awaken psychic, and use speed potion. How would it talk? I mean, I'm not an ordinary person. Xiaozhi was speechless. Then Xiaozhi, what is the Waveguide Power you're talking about? How come I haven't heard of it before? I have only heard people say that Sabrina, the gym leader of Saffron City, is a psychic. Is the power of Waveguide also similar to psychic? Misty transformed into 100,000 Ys and looked excited at the same time. This was the first time she had seen a transcendent person alive. The power of Waveguide is different from psychic, but it has similar functions in some aspects. In short, each has its own merits. Now my Waveguide power can explore the surrounding environment, feel the waveguide of all things, and assist the Waveguide to understand the language of Pokemon and sense their emotions. Xiaozhi said, closed his eyes, and started walking in the dense and complicated jungle. His body was flexible, and he avoided obstacles one after another. There's quite a feeling of walking through thousands of flowers without any leaves touching you. His obviously unusual performance made Misty completely believe his words. In other words, Xiaozhi, you used the power of the Waveguide to sense that the huge Dragonite had no ill intentions last night, and that's why you came forward to talk? Misty discovered her blind spot at this time, which solved her mystery yesterday. Logically speaking, what she learned about Xiaozhi was not that he was reckless, but on the contrary, he was very cautious and courageous. This can be seen from the perfect solution to the Damien Charmander incident. It makes no sense. Yesterday, my blood suddenly surged, and I stepped forward to negotiate with the giant Dragonite. You must know that without understanding the other party, Doing so is tantamount to giving away food. Now that I think about it, Xiaozhi is in control of everything. Okay, Xiaozhi, you didn't tell me earlier that you had the power of Waveguide, which made me worry for so long yesterday. Misty almost mastered the technique common to girlfriends all over the world, waist protection. It's just that she didn't want to use the 973 force, so she just made such a symbolic move. Now is different from yesterday. This is a secret that only those closest to me can know. Although Xiaozhi has been single since her previous life, she has not always been straight. It's totally fine to talk some sweet words and coax her. I didn't pay much, but I made my girlfriend happy again. In the end, I was the one who felt happy. Isn't that wonderful? It's just a pity that my hardware is not up to standard, and Misty seems to be even worse. It cannot be punished or tortured, but it's okay to kiss and stick to each other. Who is your closest person? You scumbag, I never agreed. Misty tilted her head in a classic arrogant manner, but the red tips of her ears betrayed her thoughts. Obviously, Xiaozhi's words were very useful to her. Although she didn't agree with her words, she acted like she was her girlfriend. They used to walk side by side, but now they are holding hands. It can't be with a male best friend, right? That gleaming 89 points of favorability cannot be faked. If you are over 80, you are already in a relationship. In Xiaozhi's previous life, he had done everything he should and shouldn't do, and even turned a girl's stomach into a secondhand house. According to the system's strict favorability classification, most of them have not exceeded 70. The favorability score of 89 points is not much worse than those old couples who have golden or diamond weddings and have been in love for decades. On the way to Vermilion City, Xiaozhi did not forget to level up Pokemon, especially Charmander, which is currently the lowest level. I don't know if it's because it has been tempered before, or because it has been cultivated using the Charizard breeder manual during this period. Charmander evolves into Charmeleon only after its level reaches 422. It's a little later than the normal Charmander, but this shouldn't be a bad thing. The evolved Charmeleon looks much healthier than the normal Charmeleon. Both the color and the temperature of the tail flame are far superior to the normal Charmeleon. The night before arriving in Vermilion City, after several days of hard work, the levels of the Pokemon in the team also improved. After Charmeleon reached 422 evolution, it was upgraded by 3 levels to LV25. Pikachu remains at 449. Its current level is already very high, and it is only 1 level short of being promoted to Quasi-Elite. It's not much worse than the main Pokemon of veteran gym leaders. Fighting against these low-level Pokemon in the wild will yield little combat experience. Don't fight those high-level trainers or Pokemon. It is still far away to reach IV50 by relying on Jungle. Pidgeotto upgraded 1 level and reached LV35. As long as you level up 1 more level, you will most likely be able to evolve into a Baijiao. Flash Gyarados has been upgraded by 2 levels and is the same as Pidgeotto, both at LV35. Abundant physical strength and powerful strength brought by the huge body. The strength is in the first echelon below Pikachu. Bulbasaur has upgraded 1 level and is currently LV33. Squirtle upgraded 2 levels, reaching level 31, and successfully entered the category of elite Pokemon. However, it still has no intention of evolving at this time. Xiaozhi plans to find an opportunity to talk to it next time. Bulbasaur does not evolve, partly because of its personal thoughts. On the other hand, it is also because of its chlorophyll ability that it can exert good combat power without evolving. There is absolutely no need for Squirtle. It will only become more powerful after evolution. At night, Xiaozhi gently removed Misty's arm that had been placed on his neck again at some point. After leaving Bill Lighthouse, they naturally moved into a tent at Xiaozhi's request. Misty symbolically resisted Xiaozhi's decision. This proves that he is not the kind of unreserved Stephanie and uses this behavior to convince his heart. I accepted it half-heartedly. Pull down the zipper and exit the tent. Xiaozhi left Flash Gyarados to keep vigil around the tent. Take the other Pokemon and head to an open space nearby. He is preparing to receive the reward of the Ultra Ancient Dragonite mission, fused with Primary Psychic. By the way, used the magical speed potion obtained from the mission to punish Damien. Having experienced Xiaozhi's awakening of the power of the Waveguide, Pidgeotto and Pikachu very consciously called on several other little guys who didn't know what to do and spread their warning. With a confused look on his face, Charmeleon and Bulbasaur Squirtle, who learned from Pidgeotto and Pikachu that Xiaozhi had magically operated before, were also excited. As expected of Xiaozhi, worthy of being their trainer, he actually possesses such extraordinary power as the power of Waveguide, and now he seems to be awakening a new extraordinary power. Wait until Pikachu and the others have checked the surrounding area to ensure safety. Xiaozhi's consciousness was empty, and he thought silently in his heart. System: extract primary psychic rewards. It was different from the last time, when I awakened the power of the Waveguide in advance and fainted directly. But when I woke up, I successfully awakened. This time, awakening the primary psychic seemed to be quite painful. At this time, Xiaozhi only felt a splitting headache, and his brain seemed to explode. From the outside, the surroundings of Xiaozhi are very dusty. Xiaozhi's figure sitting cross-legged became a little hazy, making it hard to see clearly. And Xiaozhi's eyes also glowed blue. Woo, Jenny. Seeing Xiaozhi's somewhat painful expression, Charmeleon subconsciously wanted to step forward to check. But he was stopped by Pikachu and Pidgeotto. They knew from the previous experience that Xiaozhi needed a quiet and safe environment. After receiving explanations and comfort from Pikachu and Pidgeotto, Ji-chan's mood became much more stable. But he still looked at Xiaozhi with some worry. Not only them, but also Pikachu and Pidgeotto, who appeared to calm and appease them. Xiaozhi's performance this time was very different from the last time. Could something happen? After a long time, the blue light in Xiaozhi's eyes disappeared. The flying dust around him gradually fell. The pained look on his face disappeared, replaced by calm. This made Pidgeotto completely relieved and waited quietly with the other pets. After awakening, Xiaozhi opened his eyes and felt this newly acquired power. As soon as I thought about it, a small tree as tall as a person next to me swayed. Almost all the dense leafage fell away, and in the end, the entire small tree was uprooted. Is this the basic ability? Not a bad performance. For now, the ability to interfere with reality is much stronger than the power of waveguides. It's just that the power of the waveguide is mainly auxiliary in the early stage, and will start to exert force in the later stage. Yalong, who has master-level waveguide power, can even quell a war by lending his waveguide to Mew. Once your waveguide power reaches the master level, your performance will be even more terrifying, not inferior to Psychic of the same level, even better in some aspects. And doesn't Psychic himself own this? Nothing to be unbalanced about. That is, Psychic is obtained through system rewards. There is no way to gradually improve over time, like the power of waveguides. If you want to keep up with the progress of waveguide power in the future, you can only see whether the system will issue related tasks. Xiaozhi thought silently in his heart. Then he opened the personal panel that he hadn't opened for a long time. Other places have not changed much from before, mainly because the beauty aspect has been bound to Misty, and her favorability has reached 89 points. In terms of personal abilities, there is an additional junior psychic. A new carry-on section has also been opened. The current item I carry is the Reverse Chung badge obtained from Misty's beauty mission. After wearing it, you can maintain a harmonious relationship in the harem and never fast forward to the hatchet plot. Xiaozhi equipped this kind of good thing as soon as he got it. At the same time, I hope that the more the better. It is worth mentioning that according to the system introduction, Saffron City Sabrina's psychic is only 2 levels higher than Xiaozhi. He is an advanced psychic. Xiaozhi's primary psychic is actually not too low. The apprentices at the Saffron City Gym can't even get started yet. Just bending a spoon, the strength of psychic has almost no effect. Xiaozhi's psychic can achieve telepathy. When applied to reality, a small tree as tall as one person can also be raised. It is indeed very strong. As for using psychic to promote temporary evolution of Pokemon, This can only be done at the intermediate level. Things like teleport and minimize, which use psychic to make people bigger, belong to the category of advanced psychic users. Speaking of which, Xiaozhi is still a little envious. I look forward to passing system tasks in the future to improve my psychic as soon as possible. Class, pick up then. At this time, Pikachu and other Pokemon saw that Xiaozhi had awakened, so they came forward and shouted excitedly. Just now, Xiaozhi directly used Psychic to uproot a small tree as tall as a person, which shocked the towers. They thought that what Xiaozhi awakened this time was still an auxiliary power like the power of Waveguide. Okay, I'm Fina. Things went smoothly. Thank you everyone for your help. Xiaozhi smiled and rubbed their heads one by one, then put all other Pokemon except Pikachu and Pidgeotto back into the Pokeball. Seeing that his Pokeball had not been taken back, Pidgeotto seemed to realize something and immediately screamed excitedly. Is Xiaozhi going to create a small stove for himself again? Under Pidgeotto's expectant gaze, Xiaozhi nodded and took out the magical speed potion. Pidgeotto is no stranger to this. I had drunk Bulbasaur before, and my speed was obviously improved after drinking it. And speed is the attribute that bird Pokemon like it are most proud of. After seeing Xiaozhi's affirmative look, he happily drank the magical speed potion in one gulp. Then he spread his wings and flew, testing his 10% increase in speed in the air. Although the speed increase is not large, the impact on Pidgeotto's strength is extremely amazing. If you want to meet the sudden increase in speed, your physical fitness must meet the standard. The magical speed potion also improved Pidgeotto's physical fitness. The body is tougher, the feathers are denser, and the wings are more powerful. It's equivalent to buying one and getting one free. And when the speed reaches a certain level, the impact of every increase is extremely significant. Just like those sprinters in Xiaozhi's previous life, 10 seconds for 100 meters and 9 seconds for 100 meters are completely different concepts. At this time, Pidgeotto, 3.8, whose speed has increased by 10%, has opened a huge gap with other members of the same race. And this gap will become larger and larger as Pidgeotto evolves into a Pidgeotto who has eaten the Jinkola feed in the future. Xiaozhi took back the excited Pidgeotto Pokeball and took Pikachu back to the camping tent. Please flash Gyarados to continue to keep vigil and promise to feed it tomorrow and then get back into the tent. Pika Pikachu looked at Xiaozhi, who went straight into the tent. Then he looked at an exclusive small tent set up for it next to the two-person big tent. Cheeks bulged. In the past, Xiaozhi always slept in the same tent as himself. Damn Misty. On the second day, Xiaozhi and his party traveled lightly and arrived at Vermilion City before the sun fully rose. As usual, go to the Pokemon Center in Vermilion City to prepare for a full recovery of all the Pokemon in the team. Nurse Joy informed the two of them with an embarrassed look. Because there were too many injured Pokemon in the challenge of Vermilion City, the Pokemon Center rankings were tight. They need to wait a day or so before the Pokemon can be restored. After all, their Pokemon were not injured, just a little tired. There are many Pokemon who need more help than they do. Without saying a word, Xiaozhi pulled Misty out of the Pokemon Center and went straight to the Vermilion City gym. Majishir really needs to be dealt with. Looking at the two people leaving, Misty's beautiful eyes showed some worry. These two are not going to challenge the Vermilion gym, are they? Majishir is not as amiable as other gym leaders and deliberately uses low-level Pokemon to train challengers. What he likes most is bullying the small. I hope he hasn't passed away. I also hope that Pikachu has not passed away. There is a Raichu opposite. The kind-hearted Nurse Joy put her hands together and sent her blessings. Chapter 56, Thunderbolt Battle, Leather God's Highlight Moment. Xiaozhi, you must teach that immoral Majishir a lesson later. On the way to the Vermilion Gym, Misty crossed her arms in front of the bear and said with an unhappy look on her face. In her understanding, a qualified gym leader should send out different levels of Pokemon based on the strength of the challenger. As much as possible, challengers should learn as much as possible in gym battles. Even if there's only time for one battle, we must do our best to provide guidance. The gym leader of the Vermilion Gym is completely assisting the gym leader's identity. Satisfy your perverted psychology of bullying. Knowing Xiaozhi's strength, she was not worried about Xiaozhi losing as in the original plot. Instead, he wanted Xiaozhi to teach Ma Zhishu a lesson. Yes, I can. The Pokemon the other party usually uses is Raichu. I will use Pikachu later. Xiaozhi nodded. Needless to say, Misty, the system didn't even release the message. He will also give Ma Zhishu a good education. It's just that he may not necessarily say the words that the power trip required by the mission does not deserve a beating. Among all the gym groups in the Kanto region, Ma Zhishu can be said to be the most hated one. Now I have the super ancient Dragonite amulet on my body, and there are mission rewards. Naturally, I want to give Ma Zhishu a good education. Who would let me dislike him? Pikachu fights Raichu, it's a sure thing. Misty spread her fist. Thinking in their hearts, Xiaozhi and Misty had already arrived at the Vermilion Gym. When the two arrived, a little boy with a pot head was running out of the house, crying and holding Xiaola, who was covered in burns. That pitiful look really made those who heard it sad, and those who saw it shed tears. Shaking his head, Xiaozhi kicked open the door of Vermilion Gym. Since you're here to have fun, there is no need to be too polite. Another victim? Looks like quite a power trip. The first person to greet the two people was a man and a woman, staff from the Vermilion Gym. Those who are close to Vermilion are red. Those who are close to ink are black. Following Ma Zhishu, they were also very power trip, looking arrogant. The challengers of a gym became victims in their mouths. Oh, who is the challenger this time? At this time, Ma Zhishu, who was sitting on a large chair at the end, also came forward. He has blonde hair and is over 2 meters tall. The clothes on her upper body are open, revealing her well-developed chest and abdominal muscles, making her look extremely powerful. The strong body pushed aside the two men and stood in front of Xiaozhi and Misty. When his eyes fell on Misty, his eyes lit up. What a cute challenger. As he said that, he wanted to bend down and hug Misty. Xiaozhi's eyes turned cold, and he took action quickly. Before Ma Zhishu succeeded, he directly removed the joints on his two thick arms. Although I had seen it in TV animation in my previous life, I had already expected it. But after actually seeing the other party's actions, I still couldn't help but feel a little overwhelmed. It is said to be a greeting, but it is no different from eating tofu. In addition to bullying the weak, Ma Zhishu is also a scumbag. I don't know when Nintendo was portraying such a character and designing this plot in the previous life. Are you intentionally alluding to Omei? Ma Zhishu is a typical Westerner, and his identity is also a former Air Force major in the Unova region who was born in the beautiful country. Xiaozhi directly removed the joints of both arms. Ma Zhishu, a 2-meter-tall strong man, gasped in pain. Master, what are you doing to my girlfriend? Without further ado, let's have a gym battle with your Raichu and my Pikachu. If you lose, apologize to us and compensate for the medical expenses of the Pokemon that was injured here before. Also, I would look for Officer Jenny. I will file a complaint against you, Officer Jenny, for your behavior just now. Xiaozhi used his skills to push the opponent's majestic body back. After falling back 5 or 6 meters, he stopped with the help of 2 men. Frightened by Ma Zhishu's sudden action just now, Misty froze in place and looked at Xiaozhi's domineering response. I just feel safe and warm in my heart. I couldn't help but cast a pair of starry eyes at Xiaozhi. When looking for a boyfriend, you have to find someone who can stand behind you and support you in any situation. Only in this way can you feel completely safe. Beauty, Misty, favorability, 8,992. Since confirming the partnership, it has exceeded 80 points. Compared to being stuck at 79 before, Misty's favorability is rising sharply. And in front of Xiaozhi, he is far less powerful than in the original work. The relationship between people is like this. If you get tougher, the other person will get softer. If you soften, the other party will kick your nose in the face and directly deal damage to your face. In the original plot, Misty's strength was based on Xiaozhi's immaturity. He doesn't know anything, and he just wants to enter the world with his passion for Pokemon. If Xiaojiang and Misty hadn't been there for help in the early stages, he would have hit his forehead a long time ago. What a character, what a strong challenger. He's not just a baby. And baby Pokemon are just babies. Majishur bared his teeth and, with the help of his two men, reattached his arm that had been removed by Xiaozhi. When Xiaozhi was about to discuss the outcome in a gym battle, his tone was as power trip as ever. He admitted that Xiaozhi seemed to be even better than him in terms of personal fighting ability. Just now, before he could react, he killed his arms. But personal strength does not represent the strength of the trainer, nor does it represent the strength of one's own Pokemon. The Pikachu standing on the opponent's shoulder should be his Earl Dervish Pokemon, right? It's just a Pikachu. It hasn't evolved yet. How could it be him Raichu's rival? The loss I suffered from you, trainer, just now. Let's hit it back from you, little baby. Who told you to follow the wrong trainer? Majishur glanced at Pikachu with a hint of pity. Then he took out the Pokeball and released Raichu. Pokemon, Raichu level 439. Come on, baby. The 1v1 gym battle is as you wish. Misty, you can call Officer Jenny to come over. Xiaozhi tilted his head and ordered Misty. Oh, all right. Misty responded obediently and did not think there was a possibility of Xiaozhi losing, even if the opponent is Raichu, Pikachu's evolved form. The long-term relationship made her develop a deep trust in Xiaozhi. Pikachu, it's up to you. After giving instructions to Misty, Xiaozhi patted Pikachu, who was standing on his shoulder. Pika Pika, leave it to me. Pikachu responded confidently, and then jumped off Xiaozhi's shoulders. Step by step, he came to Raichu, who was much larger than him. There was no fear in his eyes. The baby is as wild as its trainer. Majishur snorted coldly, not thinking that there was a possibility of him losing. In fact, if it is a normal challenger, this is indeed the case. Although Raichu at level 39 is not Majishur's main force, he is still in the second team being cultivated. There is only one level left before you can be promoted to the gym level. How can rookie trainer, who just started traveling for a short time, beat him? Pikachu, we use 100,000 volts. A head-on confrontation? Very good. Raichu, let the little baby opposite me see what a real 100. Nulla voltage. Majishur smiled confidently. However, the smile on his face only lasted a short moment. The disappearing smile moved to Misty's face. At this time, I saw Pikachu Raichu in the field, and two saffron-colored electric currents, large and small, intersected in the air. What surprised Majishur and his two men was the current released by Raichu is actually much smaller than that of Pikachu, although Raichu is the evolved form of Pikachu. But there is also a difference between Pikachu and Pikachu. Moreover, Xiaozhi's Pikachu 49 is only one step away from becoming a quasi-elite level Pokemon. Compared to Raichu, who has not even reached the gym level, the gap is not as big as normal. Not to mention, Pikachu is also equipped with Light Ball, which doubles his attack power. 2 100,000 volt battles. In just a short period of time, Pikachu's 100,000 volts devoured Raichu's. A terrifying electric current fell on Raichu, who had the same power trip as his master. It was electrocuted until its whole body was blackened, and it lost its ability to fight and fell to the ground as soon as it rolled its eyes. Pikachu's Raichu Pi. Pikachu wins. Majishur's female subordinate announced the result with a trembling voice. Looking at Pikachu, whose expression did not change, Qian Zhaohao, in the field, there was a little more awe in his eyes. Different from the original plot, Raichu is defeated by using speed. Go head-to-head and defeat the opponent with his most proud electrical skills. The sense of oppression it can bring is the most terrifying. A baby is a baby, as weak as its owner. Xiaozhi shook his head and stabbed Majishur's heart, which had become fragile after being put under pressure, with another stab. Ding! The mission is completed. Use Pikachu to defeat Majishur's Raichu, and say that the baby is a baby, as weak as its owner. Reward: Master Ball 1, Intermediate Rare Candy 3. After using Pokemon below, IV 50. Level +1. Pikachu can be promoted to semi-elite. Xiaozhi's brows were filled with joy after receiving the task completion reminder. At the same time, Officer Jenny, riding a Taijun motorcycle, hurried to the Pokemon Center. Joy, go. Go save people. On the way, I learned about it from Jenny, the Pikachu boy who just left the Pokemon Center, and the orange-haired girl. He actually had a physical conflict with Xiaozhi. Joy sighed that her worries had come true, and it was even worse than she feared. Xiaozhi is so strong, but also so rough and violent. I hope that when I get there, Pikachu boy is really not dead. Nurse Joy tightened Blissy's baby ball in her hand. Chapter 57, titled Friend of the Sea. Level up Gyarados 10 times in a row. When Jenny and Joy arrived, what I saw was not Xiaozhi lying on the ground covered in blood, and a severely wounded Pikachu. Quite the opposite is true. Lying on the ground, covered in char black, was Raichu. The one with a displeased look on his face and holding out an orange badge was the 2-meter-tall, strong man G-Run. What's the situation? Xiaozhi, who is keen on torturing rookie trainers, was actually defeated by a rookie trainer? Apparently, he defeated his signature Raichu. It's just Raichu's pre-evolved form, Pikachu. Is this world already so magical? The gym leader who showed his strength was defeated by rookie trainer. The evolved form is defeated by the unevolved form. Get up. Sleep a little longer. Well, Jenny, you go back first. Your police station must have a lot of things to do. I will cure this Raichu, and he will go back on his own. Nurse Joy pushed Jenny next to her. Jenny nodded and was about to leave. So far, no serious incidents of personal attacks have occurred. It's just a normal gym battle, although the person who lost was very abnormal. Officer Jenny, wait a minute. Xiaozhi spoke and asked Officer Jenny to stay. In his doubtful eyes, he pointed at the top of his head. As a regular gym, Alliance official monitoring equipment is installed on the battlefield. In order to facilitate Alliance official inspection and evaluation of the gym, Xiaozhi's previous actions were naturally recorded by the surveillance above. Seeing Xiaozhi's actions, Xiaozhi broke into a cold sweat behind his back. Of course, he knew there were monitoring equipment on it, but Alliance rarely came to check. In addition, his own personality is relatively arrogant, so he subconsciously ignored this. Officer Jenny, who received Xiaozhi's prompt, retrieved the surveillance video from above the battlefield. Then he came to Xiaozhi with a cold face. Master Xiaozhi, now you are suspected of molesting Stephanie, a minor. Please follow me to the police station for investigation. During the investigation, the Vermilion Gym is closed to the public. Eventually, Xiaozhi was taken away, together with his 2 men. Xiaozhi conveniently called Professor Oak and informed Professor Oak of the matter. Professor Oak, who has a sense of justice in his heart, reassures Xiaozhi that there will be a good explanation for this matter. Alliance officials, led by Officer Jenny, launched an in-depth investigation into Xiaozhi and the Vermilion Gym he led. Although the connection between Xiaozhi and Vermilion Gym and Team Rocket has not been found, but Xiaozhi himself is not clean in the Unova region. After retiring and coming to the Kanto region to serve as the Vermilion Gym leader and secretly joining Team Rocket, he became even more unscrupulous. All the bad things he did were uncovered. In the end, he was stripped of his status as the gym leader of Vermilion City and had to spend several years in prison. If he hadn't been so good, he would have been among the best trainers in the gym. I have several quasi-elite Pokemon with IV 50 and above in my hand. What awaited him was not just a few years in prison. The reason why he was in prison for the past few years was not because of Professor Oak, the world-famous Pokemon professor. The result of pressure from the former champion of the Kanto region. Otherwise, they will be detained for a few days at most. Even the identity of the gym leader will be retained. All I can say is that it feels really good to have someone behind me. Xiaozhi decided to stop looking for Professor Oak to get gold coins from now on. The next time I take a photo of a mythical animal, I will give it to Professor Oak for free. Because of the loss of Vermilion Gym, even the entire Team Rocket branch in Vermilion City had to hibernate temporarily, avoid being pulled out of Radish with mud. Xiaozhi's name was also reported layer by layer, and finally appeared on Giovanni's desk. The subordinates asked whether to launch revenge on Xiaozhi, but Giovanni shook his head and rejected it. Just an ordinary young trainer, even if he inadvertently destroyed Team Rocket's deployment in Vermilion City. That's just because that idiot Xiaozhi is incompetent. The other party is from Pallet Town and seems to be highly regarded by Professor Oak. There is no need to waste time on this young trainer. Nijima's god-making plan is about to succeed. Then with that Pokemon, Team Rocket will rule the world. These are just small things now. When the boss, Giovanni, speaks, no one will disobey him and cause trouble for Xiaozhi. In addition to his status falling again and again, he has become a peripheral member. The Rocket Trio sometimes fail to receive orders from within the organization. Thanks to your credit, a major sea disaster has been avoided. Perfectly completed the hidden mission. The Sunken San Annuo reward. Title: Friend of the Sea. Reward: the highest level water-type Pokemon in the current team. Level plus 10. Vermilion City. Xiaozhi and Misty were drinking and singing as they sent Majishur in. Suddenly, I received a system prompt that the hidden task was completed. What's the situation? When people sit at home, rewards come from heaven. Pokemon: Gyarados Flash Color. Level: for 35. LV 45. At this time, Flash Gyarados, who was inside the baby ball, was also confused. At LV 35, its level suddenly increased by 10 levels. Directly upgraded to 445, it has become a very powerful existence among gym-level Pokemon. Flash Gyarados scratched his head with his beard very humanely in the baby ball. Oh, what happened? You suddenly became so much stronger. In any case, it must be Xiaozhi's credit. It's great to be Xiaozhi's Pokemon. Xiaozhi, on the other side, quickly figured out the joints after experiencing the initial confusion. Majishur is the Rockets executive, and his imprisonment will have a certain impact on the entire Rockets team. Not to mention Vermilion City. Maybe this guy is the on-site commander of the San Anu operation in the original plot. Majishur is gone. The leader of Vermilion Gym is officially appointed by Alliance as a quasi-elite level senior investigator. The Rockets branch in Vermilion City still has to keep its head down. Shoot the first bird. Don't let Vermilion City's new gym leader rest on his laurels by accident. The mission rewards are very generous, and one of them even directly increases Gyarados' level by 10 levels. This made Xiaozhi feel regretful. Why didn't you give Gyarados more levels before to raise his level? However, system rewards are also unexpected. Xiaozhi quickly put this little depression behind him, and then thought about another mission reward the title of Friend of the Sea. This is the first time he has received this title. Something fresh. Title Friend of the Sea. After wearing it, you can gain the favor of the sea. Obtain 3 Friends of the Sea titles, which can be combined into the title Son of the Sea. Title Son of the Sea. After wearing it, you can greatly gain the favor of the sea and be protected by the sea. It is possible to instruct water-type Pokemon to a certain extent. When commanding water-type Pokemon, combat power increases by 20%. Good guy, why don't you just play teamfight tactics with me? The titles of 3 Friends of the Sea are combined into Son of the Sea. From the Friend of the Sea to the Son of Tian Hai. Okay, let's play like this, right? You know how to reverse upgrade. Xiaozhi resisted the desire to complain. But looking at the effect provided by the title Son of the Sea, I couldn't move my eyes away. Compared with the shabby Friends of the Sea, it is favored by the sea. The effect of Sea Sun is simply not too strong. Gain the favor of the sea and be protected by the sea. You can also instruct water-type Pokemon to a certain extent. When commanding water-type Pokemon, your combat power can also be improved. Isn't this a must-have for water-type Pokemon masters? Isn't this a cosplay of Poseidon? Forget it, Poseidon doesn't have to. I have been screwed by a certain Buddha, and I have absolutely no character. Xiaozhi was thinking freely in his heart, and at the same time he was thinking about when he could turn his friends into sons and the sea as his father. Ding! Trigger the mission. Perfectly solve the huge Tentacruel incident at Rampur's Yumichi Pier. Mission completion reward. Friend of the Sea. Title 1 Great Tentacruel Friendship. Alliance reputation +5. The pillow came as soon as I fell asleep. A hint of joy flashed in the corner of Xiaozhi's eyes. After completing the huge Tentacruel event mission, all he needs is the title of Friend of the Sea to become a Son of the Sea. Recognizing the sea as your father is just around the corner. He wants to withdraw his prejudice against Majishur. In addition to giving himself a Master Ball and 3 intermediate rare candy. Everyone has joined the game, and they have contributed such a large wave of rewards to themselves. Good man. When he is released from prison, he must call Pikachu and have a heart-to-heart talk with him. On the other side, there's a heavy prison where important prisoners are held somewhere in alliance. Majishir felt a chill behind him. He couldn't figure out the reason and put the matter behind him. Hope Giovanni can fish him out. Xiaozhi, what are you thinking about? So happy. Misty fed Xiaozhi a cut steak with a fork. Nothing. I just thought of a certain uncle in prison. Xiaozhi answered truthfully. Misty's eyebrows arched. Xiaozhi, have another piece. I'll open your mouth for his own sake. Xiaozhi even sent the leader of the Humanity Gym to the police station. Is this just a matter of anger for beauty? Love it, love it. That night, Xiaozhi and the two stayed at the Vermilion City Pokemon Center for another night. Dead of night, Xiaozhi rolled out of bed and woke up Pikachu. Promoted to Quasi-Elite today. Chapter 58. El Level 50. Quasi-Elite Pikachu. Pikachu, who also had the experience of running a small stove, jumped 3 feet high. There was no sleep in his eyes, and he climbed onto Xiaozhi's trouser legs and onto his shoulders in a few moments. The little short claw waved, looking more eager than Xiaozhi. When Xiaozhi came to the balcony, his mood changed. A mid-level rare candy appeared in his hand. Unlike the primary rare candy, it is wrapped in gorgeous candy wrappers. Intermediate rare candy appears to be much simpler, somewhat like the gray sugar pills that Xiaozhi took in his previous life to prevent polio. Come on, Pikachu, eat it. Xiaozhi handed the intermediate rare candy to Pikachu, who had been looking forward to it for a long time. Pika. Thank you, Xiaozhi. Pikachu took the rare candy and ate it directly into his stomach. Pokemon, Pikachu level 449, IV 50. It can only be said that the products produced by the system must be high-quality products. Not long after eating the intermediate rare candy, Pikachu's level was successfully raised to 50. The electricity in the body is more than twice as powerful as before. Not every upgrade will bring such a big improvement. This time it's because it involves the transition between gym level and quasi-elite level. Quasi-elite is a force that cannot be ignored in the entire alliance. With just such a Pikachu, if Xiaozhi goes to work in Alliance, he can directly serve as a senior investigator. Even though he just started traveling this year, he is still a minor after giving Pikachu a mid-level rare candy. There are also 2 mid-level rare candy and 1 high-level rare candy in Xiaozhi system space, and a top-quality metal coat and a Master Ball. 27 currently. There are no Pokemon in the team that need to use these items. Pikachu 50 intermediate rare candy has no effect on it, unless eating high-end rare candy. But eating it now seems too wasteful. You know, high-level rare candy can level up Pokemon below IV 70. Enough to level up an elite Pokemon. If Pikachu were to eat this at the quasi-elite stage, Xiaozhi would be heartbroken. Therefore, Xiaozhi does not plan to use the remaining 5 high-grade rare candy for the time being. Even Xiaozhi didn't plan to use the 2 mid-level rare candy now. Let's wait until Flash Gyarados level reaches 448. When the time comes, eat 2 mid-level rare candy together. Oh, the best metal coat. I had planned it before, so I just skipped it. Teach Majishir a lesson, and the Master Ball obtained by completing the task is a good thing. Although it is not like in the previous Pokemon games, you can conquer any Pokemon. But if Xiaozhi successfully PY the mythical beast in the future, it will be put to use. With the power of divine beasts, except Master Ball, hardly any baby ball can accommodate them. Here in Xiaozhi, the Master Ball is roughly equivalent to the Beast's Den. After sorting out the gains during this period, I made a plan for the next step. Since the sinking of the San Annuo will never happen again, we will take the San Annuo and set off for Lamperchi City tomorrow. Over there is still a giant tentacruel task waiting for Xiaozhi to complete. After this matter is resolved, the next destination is Saffron City. After traveling for so long, I only got 3 badges, so my speed has accelerated a bit. Ding! Trigger system mission. Defeat Saffron City Gym leader Sabrina head-on and restore her to normal. Mission completion reward. Psychic level upgraded to intermediate level. Sabrina's favorability is increased The degree of improvement depends on the completion of the task. As I was thinking about it, 3 pieces of information passed through my mind. Xiaozhi casually accepted the task and checked the contents. The mission rewards are pretty good. You can upgrade your newly acquired basic psychic to intermediate level. At that time, it can also be used to assist the temporary evolution of psychic Pokemon. You can even use psychic to lift yourself up and perform flying to a certain extent. Just want to use teleport or interfere with more reality. You need to upgrade to advanced psychic. As for the other reward of increasing Sabrina's favorability, it's not bad at all. After finishing the plan, Xiaozhi took Pikachu, who was still immersed in excitement after the level was improved, back to the room. Pikachu, good night. Pika Pika, good night, Xiaozhi. Wow, this is the S ticket of the San Annuo. Xiaozhi, where did you come from? The next morning, Xiaozhi and Xiaozhi were walking on the Vermilion City Pier. Just as Misty looked longingly at the huge and luxurious Saint Annuo anchored in the harbor, Xiaozhi acted like a trick and took out 2 SS tickets for the San Annuo. Xiaozhi pursed his lips not far away. When you bought the cone just now, I bought it at the ticket office over there. It must be expensive, right? Apart from being happy, Misty became a little confused again. She doesn't have much travel funds, and Xiaozhi doesn't ask for money from her family anymore. Although they're still well off now, they are not allowed to squander it. After all, Xiaozhi also has a very hungry Flash Gyarados to raise. Xiaozhi shook his head. It's okay. I just bought a ticket from Vermilion City to Lampert City. The journey is not far. How much money did you pay? What's really expensive about the Santo Anno is traveling around the world, and there will be more opportunities to make money in the future, so there's no need to be so fussy about it. It's time to save money. It's time to spend money. Don't lose sight of money. Misty nodded. Yeah, wait for me. With that said, he left Xiaozhi and ran away. When I came back, I had a Pokédex in my hand, and I didn't know what I was fiddling with. After a while, Xiaozhi's Pokédex sent a prompt. 120,000 Alliance coins were credited to his account. Misty, I sold the Moonstone that MT Moon Clefairy gave me, and I'll transfer the money to you. Anyway, we both spend money together now. I'll let you buy whatever you want at that time. Don't skimp on it. Misty winked at Xiaozhi. Xiaozhi felt warm in his heart. Misty, including Squirtle, only has 3 Pokemon in total, and they are not that big. The real expense of the 2 of them together is on his side. Misty is giving money to herself in a different way. I was afraid that I wouldn't accept it, so I specially found a way to say it. Thinking of this, Xiaozhi accepted it generously. From now on, Misty, I will take care of all your expenses. Misty stretched out her hand and made an okay gesture. After wandering around the pier for a while, I bought some things. Xiaozhi and the 2 of them boarded the Saint Annuo and set sail. Next stop, Ramperchi City. Since they had eaten a lot on the pier, both of them were not hungry yet, so they did not eat in the restaurant. Instead, we met at the bow of the boat and planned to fish. Misty used her fishing rod back, and Xiaozhi used a new one he just bought at the dock. Soon, Xiaozhi realized the benefits of the title of Friend of the Sea. At this moment, he has turned on the connecting rod mode, and what I'm fishing for is not the normal Magikarp or Tentacle. He even caught 2 of the extremely rare Horsia. It's just that compared to the potential product, Misty didn't like it either. He was released by Xiaozhi. The 3 Pokemon that Misty has captured so far are Starmie and Goldeen besides Squirtle. Although it is relatively bad, she chose it carefully. The potential is outstanding. Although it is not Xiaozhi's own Pokemon, there is no way to check the specific potential level. But now Xiaozhi has also summarized his own set of observation methods. According to his estimation, Misty Starmie has at least gym potential, and Goldeen also has elite potential. Among their respective ethnic groups, they can be regarded as outstanding leaders. Although the 2 horses caught by Xiaozhi are rare, their quality is normal. Whether it can evolve smoothly into its final form is still a question. Naturally, it is impossible to be taken seriously by Xiaozhi, who is very demanding, and Xiaolu, who is influenced by Xiaozhi and has become more and more ambitious. Xiaozhi's prodigal move of letting 2 Horsias go one after another. Trainer, who was also fishing nearby, saw this and his thighs turned purple with envy. You look down on me. I like it. Freeing animals for what? Hey kid, do you want to sell the Pokemon you caught? If you catch another 870 seahorse later, I can buy it at a high price. After Xiaozhi released the caught Staryu, he hung another bait on the fishing rod. Just as he was about to throw the pole, a middle-aged man in a suit came forward with a smile and made a suggestion. Xiaozhi glanced sideways. Uncle, you'd better find someone else. I won't do this. As a reminder, it is illegal to buy and sell wild Pokemon without permission. You don't want me to tell Officer Jenny about this either, do you? Haha, kid, you're just kidding. You can continue fishing. I won't disturb you. I'm leaving first. The middle-aged man's face froze. He laughed, turned around, and left. In my heart, I cursed that I don't make money and I don't know how to appreciate others. Xiaozhi shook his head and ignored it. He wouldn't do something so tasteless. There are many ways to make money. When he becomes stronger, just a drop in the bucket from the system rewards will be enough for him to live comfortably. Does he have the disease to imitate others selling wild Pokemon? It's not worth it, and it's not in line with his values. The rest of the trainers who saw Xiaozhi's good luck and wanted to buy Pokemon from him were frustrated by the middle-aged man. They all gave up their thoughts one after another. After fishing all afternoon, I caught a lot of rare Pokemon, but none of them caught my eye on their potential. It was getting late. Xiaozhi and Misty came to the restaurant to have dinner. At this time, a battle arena was created in the middle of the restaurant by the crew members on the ship. From time to time, trainers would come to the ring to engage in Pokemon battles. Ding! Trigger the system mission. Use Charmeleon to get 10 consecutive victories on the Saint, and task completion reward. Pokemon food making machine. Put in the ingredients and enter the requirements, and it can automatically generate Pokemon food. Rich in nutrients and great in taste. Automatic cooking machine. Put in the ingredients and enter the requirements, and it can automatically generate human food. Rich F 5-star chef. Note: Xiaojing's cooking skills are at the level of a 4-star chef. Xiaozhi, who was originally not very interested in the novices pecking each other on Sant Anno, just wanted to get to Lampolky City as soon as possible, suddenly became energetic. Chapter 59. Breeder problem solved. Charmeleon's popularity, although he is not very interested in novices pecking each other, he is interested in the mission rewards. If he can get this wave of system rewards, it will really save his wallet and taste buds at the same time. Compared to the expensive Pokemon food sold in stores, just buy the ingredients and make it yourself. It will undoubtedly save a lot of money. With Xiaozhi's current financial resources, let alone Flash Gyarados, I can barely afford to keep another Snorlax. And use the Pokemon Food Maker to make Pokemon food. It has rich taste and balanced nutrition, and can be customized according to Xiaozhi's requirements. Isn't this equivalent to carrying a Pokemon breeder with you? It's much better than the generic Pokemon food you buy outside. This wave is called spending a small amount of money to do big things. As for the food-making machine as another mission reward, it is also to Xiaozhi's liking. Since Xiaojing left the team, Xiaozhi and Misty's spoiled appetites suddenly began to feel uncomfortable. Compared with the exquisite dishes made by Xiaojing, the instant and hot food the two bought was just like pig food, even though Misty later bought recipes and worked hard to learn how to cook. But it's just barely edible, only better than fast food. As a result, every time the two of them went to town for supplies, they acted like starving ghosts, eating and showing off everywhere. If you get the food-making machine as a mission reward, just prepare the ingredients and throw them in, enter the requirements, and you can get delicious food. It's still more delicious than Xiaojing's. Shouldn't this be a rush? Charmeleon, it's up to you to save your wallet and taste buds. Thinking of this, Xiaozhi stood up directly. Misty, eat slowly. I'll go over to the ring and take a look. Let's get together. Misty finished the food on the plate in a few bites, wiped her red mouth with a napkin, and stood up to follow. Came near the ring. Xiaozhi learned about it through the staff on the ship. The battles in the ring are all conducted by trainers on their own initiative, and there is no need to charge a fee. Of course, there is also no reward. In the field, the outcome of the battle between Sandshrew and Poliwag was also decided. Unsurprisingly, with equal levels, Poliwag won 080 by virtue of its attribute advantage. When Sandshrew trainer sadly left, Xiaozhi took the opportunity to step forward and challenge Xiang's trainer. The other party was stunned for a moment and nodded in agreement. Immediately, Xiaozhi took out Charmeleon's baby ball and released it. Pokemon, Charmeleon, level 425, Pokemon, Poliwag level 18T. Although attribute is disadvantageous, it is suppressed by level and Pokemon's performance. Charmeleon's strength is actually far superior to Poliwag. Plus, Poliwag just went through a battle very easily. Xiaozhi won with a Fire Dragon. But this kind of sparring match, false swipe. Due to Xiaozhi's deliberate action, the opponent's Poliwag was not seriously injured. Poliwag's trainer is a young man who looks older than Xiaozhi. Apparently, he is also sympathetic. He stepped forward, put the Poliwag back into the baby ball, and praised it. Thank you for your mercy. This Charmeleon is very impressive, and the breeder is very good. Maybe there is a chance to become a Pokemon that is the main trainer of the gym. As a trainer who set out to travel a few years ago, his family was well off. You can also pick up a Usangia as an Earl Dervish Pokemon in Alliance. And what he received was the Fire-type Charmander. Now Breeder has also evolved into Charmeleon. It was precisely because he also owned a Charmeleon that he knew how different his Charmeleon was from Xiaozhi's. No matter its body shape, color, eyes, or the size of the tail flame. The sharpness of the claws is far inferior to Xiaozhi's. In layman's terms, it's the difference between the Youth version and the Pro Max version. Therefore, he did not hesitate to praise Xiaozhi's Charmeleon. At the same time, I felt a little envious. Ouch! Charmeleon defeated rival in the field. Before he could be happy, he heard rival trainer's praise. He rubbed his paws unhappily. Xiaozhi said that it can become the world's mightiest Charizard in the future. Do you think I have a chance to reach the level of the main Pokemon in the gym trainer? You know how to praise dragons. Too small. The layout is smaller. Thank you for the compliment. Your Poliwag is also great. Xiaozhi responded with a smile and prepared to face the next challenger. 10 consecutive victory missions, and we have just completed the first victory. I come. A girl with an ordinary appearance, but with youthful vitality, stepped forward to challenge. The Pokemon she uses is Scyther, a rare and powerful being among the 10 bug types. Known as a born warrior, he is very persistent in winning. The opponent's command level was pretty good, so Xiaozhi played a few more rounds with the opponent with great interest. Only then did he command Charmeleon to end the battle. Thank you for your advice. During the battle, the girl could clearly feel the gap between herself and Xiaozhi. It's like facing the condescending and encouraging gym leader normal when challenging the gym. She gained a lot from this battle, and even if she lost, she still looked happy. The outstanding performance of Xiaozhi and Charmeleon attracted the attention of many trainers on board. With this or that mentality, he also stepped forward to challenge Charmeleon. The winning streak progressed quickly, and it didn't take long to reach 9 consecutive wins. There is only one last scene left to complete the mission. Xiaozhi originally wanted Charmeleon to rest before fighting, but found that it was still in good health. There was no intention of taking a rest. Rival in the previous 9 battles was a bit weak for Charmeleon. Basically, I haven't exerted my full strength, but I still have plenty of energy now. With this in mind, Xiaozhi planned to get 10 consecutive victories in one go. Little brother, I want to use my Eradicate to have a Pokemon battle with you. While waiting, a tall and thin man wearing a gentleman's dress and a top hat walked up to Xiaozhi with his charming female companion on his arm. Beside him, there was also Eradicate. Seeing the visitor, Xiaozhi frowned slightly. But he was the challenger after all, so he didn't say much and made a sign of please. In the original plot, this person used Eradicate to fight against Xiaozhi's Butterfree. When the defeat was about to be decided, he stepped forward and stopped the game. You really can't afford to lose. Later, I fell in love with Xiaozhi's Butterfree and proposed to exchange it with Eradicate. Xiaozhi asked Xiaojang for his opinion, but Xiaojang was fascinated by the other party's enchanting female companion. Eventually, the two exchanged Pokemon. But after the exchange, Xiaozhi regretted it and exchanged it again. Thinking of the cerebral hemorrhage operation in the original plot, Xiaozhi couldn't help but want to cover his face. Is this what you promised to Metapod in Viridian Forest? That I will never abandon you again? It didn't take long before I exchanged it with someone. Even if you regret it in the end, the rift in friendship is not so easy to repair. Maybe this is one of the reasons why Butterfree later left to court a mate, right? In the original plot, Butterfree never felt sorry for Xiaozhi from beginning to end. After Xiaozhi wasted part of its potential and failed to take good care of it, it was captured by the Beedrill tribe. But he still sacrificed his life to save Xiaozhi when he was attacked by Beedrill. What I got in exchange was an exchange with others and a release. No, I can't think about it anymore. I will definitely never do such a stupid thing again. Ding! Trigger system task. Help Butterfree successfully courted Pink Flash Butterfree despite refusing to release the animal. Task completion reward. Potential enhancement ribbon bronze. Exclusively for Butterfree. After use, Butterfree's potential can be increased from quasi-elite level to elite level. Title: Bug-type friend. Wild Bug-type Pokemon are more likely to like you. Xiaozhi took over the system task as soon as he received it. Not to mention there are mission rewards. Even if there are none, he will try his best to make up for the noble feeling in his previous life. Whoever wants the title of Release Master can take it. Anyway, you will be responsible for the Pokemon you have captured and will never release it again. Suppressing the thoughts in his heart, Xiaozhi refocused his attention on the next battle. Pokemon, Raticate level. At 28 in the original plot, he could fight Butterfree back and forth, and it took several rounds before he was revealed to be defeated. The level of this Raticate is relatively high among its kind, and its potential should be quite good. Otherwise, he would not have caught the eye of the tall, thin gentleman. Those who can take the ultra-luxury cruise ships in Annuo are either rich or poor. What's more, the tall and thin gentleman is accompanied by a voluptuous and sexy female companion. He has no shortage of those cherished Pokemon, if you will. The opponent's level is 3 levels higher than Charmeleon's, and his strength is also pretty good, although it is just a bad Raticate for Charmeleon. But it is a more suitable rival than those I have encountered before. Xiaozhi also showed a little more energy. However, this battle still disappointed Xiaozhi. 428's Raticate is good, but it's a pity that the level of trainer is a bit low. Raticate's true strength was not brought out at all. Xiaozhi estimates that it is similar to those rookie trainers who just debuted about a year ago. But look at the tall, thin gentleman's usual pampered look. He also knew that he couldn't spend a lot of energy on Pokemon battles. During this period, the tall and thin gentleman also wanted to repeat the same tricks as in the original plot. The game was forcibly interrupted, and it was said to be a draw. Xiaozhi didn't tolerate him, and directly let Charmeleon use Fire Fang to beat Raticate to the point of losing his ability to fight. Completed the 10-game winning streak required by the mission. Ding! The mission is completed, and you will receive the reward. Pokemon Food Making Machine 1. Cooking Making Machine 1. The proper rewards have been distributed to the system space and can be taken out at any time. Once taken out, they cannot be put back again. Pokemon Charmeleon level 425, LV26 Double Happiness. In addition to the rewards for completing tasks, Charmeleon also accumulates enough combat experience. The level has been upgraded from the original 425 to 426. Among them, fighting Raticate will gain the most experience. The previous 9 games were added together, and it was probably just about the same as the last one. Sure enough, there is no way out for abusing food. Only challenge Pokemon with a high enough level can be leveled up quickly. The mission reward has been obtained, and Xiaozhi has no interest in continuing to compete with each other. I rejected several invitations from trainers to play against each other. The Pokemon has not even reached 420. It is purely a novice level. The little battle experience gained from winning is not enough to fill the gap between teeth. Spawning a wild Pokemon group in the wild can gain much more combat experience than novices pecking each other here. Put the upgraded Charmeleon back into the baby ball. Xiaozhi squeezed back into the crowd and met Misty, who was waiting for him there. At this time, the tall and thin gentleman also came forward with his arm around his sexy and voluptuous female companion in a low-cut dress. Boy, your Charmeleon breeder is quite good. Are you interested in exchanging it with my Raticate? The tall, thin gentleman licked his lips and noticed. Do you have a big face? a crappy Raticate. And you want to trade it for my Charmeleon with championship potential? Okay, okay, the wool has come to me, right? Do you really think I'm one of those idiots who just started out and don't know anything? If we talk about his Raticate, it is replaced by the Bota stage, which only had the gym potential but was damaged in the original plot. It can barely be said to be a fair exchange. Now he is a naked fraud. Before Xiaozhi could say anything, Misty came online. The small mouth buzzes and outputs wildly, with the tall and thin gentleman himself as the center of the circle and the family tree as the radius. A cordial and in-depth friendly greeting was given. He directly scolded the tall and thin gentleman for breaking his defense, breathing heavily and pointing at Misty with trembling fingers. You, what are you doing? Get out of here while we are in a good mood. Misty interrupts the spell casting. In the end, the tall, thin gentleman who couldn't care less about his face left in embarrassment with his female companion. Passengers who gathered around to watch the excitement cast their eyes in surprise. Finished my image. At this moment, Misty's face turned red when she realized what she had just done. He turned his head sharply and looked at Xiaozhi, waving his little hands slightly, trying to explain something. But she saw Xiaozhi giving her a thumbs up. Well done. You said everything I wanted to say. The heart that Misty was holding was finally put back into her stomach. Xiaozhi, don't you think I'm naughty? I don't think this is the best way to deal with this kind of person. Otherwise, I would really think he has a big face. And it's not like you're doing this to me, Misty. Xiaozhi, you are so kind. Ding, complete the hidden mission. Let the thick-skinned, tall, and thin gentleman break the defense. Obtain reward, strawberry hairpin. Charm value +1 after wearing. Xiaozhi raised the corners of his eyes slightly. Unexpectedly, there was an unexpected gain. She quickly pinned a strawberry hairpin to Misty's short orange ponytail. My girlfriend is getting more and more beautiful, which makes me feel happy after a day sailing. The Anu finally arrived in Rampur County. Huge Tentacruel, here I come. Xiaozhi tightened the ring given by the super ancient Dragonite in his hand. Chapter 60. Delia arrives. Dragon Scale 2 before the San Antonio docked. Xiaozhi found a phone on the ship and called his mother Delia. After learning that Xiaozhi was about to arrive in Lamperchi City and found a girlfriend, Delia immediately happily expressed that she wanted to come and have a look. Xiaozhi couldn't resist his mother Delia and nodded in agreement. Although after he started traveling, life at home became much better. But Delia has also worked hard for so many years before. It's good to travel and relax. It just so happens that I haven't seen my mother after traveling for so long, and I miss her a little. Xiaozhi, is your mother coming to Lamperchi City too? After hanging up the phone, Misty seemed a little uncomfortable. Is this about meeting the parents? The pace is too fast. She's a little unprepared. Okay, Misty, an ugly daughter-in-law always has to meet her parents-in-law. My mother is easy to talk to, don't worry. As soon as he said this, Misty's face changed several times and finally turned into a smiley face. Xiaozhi, you mean that I'm ABCH? Why don't you hold Pikachu to sleep tonight, so that you don't have to move your hands and feet when you are resting? Thinking of Xiaozhi's little movements when holding rest every day, Misty's pretty face couldn't help but blush a little. I really don't know where Xiaozhi learned this from. So bad. I'm just making an analogy. You know the analogy, right? Xiaozhi launched a smooth offensive. Although Pikachu is also very cute, whoever has a girlfriend would not hug Pikachu if he has a girlfriend. You say so, Pikachu? Pikachu. So, am I also a part of your team? 540. Leaving the San Annuo, we came to Rampur World. Misty saw the saffron-colored beach and subconsciously wanted to find a place to change into her swimsuit. Was stopped by Xiaozhi. He likes to see other people's girlfriends wearing swimsuits. I don't like letting my girlfriend wear a swimsuit for others to see. Call him a straight man or a male chauvinist. Who is a serious person willing to let others see his girlfriend's swimsuit? I'm afraid I'm not a cuckold. For this reason, I went to a private beach without spending any money. Visitors are prohibited. The entire beach is a world for two people. Help Misty put on sunscreen while Misty swims in the sea. Xiaozhi thought about how to complete the task related to the huge Tentacruel incident. Obviously, The task requires perfect solution. It is impossible for Misty to truly influence Tentacruel like in the original plot and let her leave voluntarily. After all, the city at that time had been destroyed by the huge Tentacruel. After thinking for a long time, I finally came up with an immature idea. Xiaozhi plans to give a try first. If it doesn't work, I can only find the super ancient Dragonite who has a PY relationship with me, and come over to reason with both parties. Xiaozhi has always been focused on persuading people with virtue. Martial ethics is also virtue. On the other side, Delia is eager to see Xiaozhi and her daughter-in-law, who has never met before. The application for community sympathy travel benefits was directly canceled. I bought the nearest ticket to Ramperchi and set off. Nothing though, just a tower. But in the TV animation, the scene of Oak and Delia traveling together is still too eye-catching. I will immediately cut off the signs, and I will not design any plots other than the relationship between the two of them as neighbors, and I will definitely not feed poison. Mom, you arrived so quickly. At noon, Xiaozhi and Misty were dining at a seafood restaurant and met Delia, who had just gotten off the plane. Of course. I haven't seen you for a long time, haven't I? This is Misty. She is really beautiful. Xiaozhi has been traveling for so long. Thanks to your care. After Delia finished answering Xiaozhi, her eyes fell on Misty, who was half a body behind Xiaozhi. The more you look at it, the more satisfied you become. Her wooden-looking son actually became enlightened. God knows, Gary found a group girlfriend, but Xiaozhi hasn't made any move yet. When there was no sign of recovery, how worried was she as a mother? Now my good son has finally come to his senses. Although Misty is not as mature as Gary's girlfriends. But people of the same age are good. I can grow up with Xiaozhi, and my relationship will definitely be the same. And with such a good foundation, she will definitely be a beautiful woman in the future. Misty looked a little unnatural when Delia looked at her, and her usual carelessness was restrained unconsciously. The whole person even seemed a little reserved. Hello, Auntie, I am Xiaozhi's girlfriend Xiaolu, currently traveling with the goal of becoming a water-type Pokemon master. Xiaozhi took care of me a lot along the way. I should thank you for raising such an excellent son. After all, he is not the kind of reserved person. After experiencing a short period of shyness and discomfort, Misty quickly returned to normal and introduced herself to Delia openly. Delia was smiling the whole time, and when Misty praised Xiaozhi, the smile on her face became even bigger. Misty is really good at talking. If he could talk, talk more. After lunch, Xiaozhi had already gotten along very harmoniously. Delia and Misty, who stood together like a pair of good sisters, went to the private beach contracted by him to play. And he found a car rental agency and rented a car. In the world of Pokemon, there is no age limit for driving, and no driver's license is required. Otherwise, Gary would not have been able to travel at the age he had just started. He drove a luxury sports car and drove his girlfriend group around everywhere. Xiaozhi, who had a driver's license in his previous life, was very familiar with driving. After a brief familiarity with the operation, I quickly got started. He stepped on the accelerator and headed towards Yumichi Pier, which was still some distance away from Lamperchi City. On the pier, you could see a large luxury hotel being built on the sea in the distance. It is Yumichi Pier, Nastina's property. In addition to the Maritime Hotel, she also owns an amusement park near Yumichi Pier. The luxury hotel on the sea under construction is called Paradise. Yumichi Pier Nastina hopes that this hotel can bring enough passenger flow. Make her amusement park a tourist attraction on par with the Ramperchi City Resort. It's just that her Paradise Hotel is built on the coral reef where Tentacool and Tentacruel live. Destroyed the home of Tentacool and Tentacruel. This has led them to repeatedly block the construction of hotels in Nastina. In the original plot, Nastina wanted to drive away Tentacool and Tentacruel with a bounty of 1 million Alliance coins. Eventually, the trio of Team Rocket took over the mission. I plan to use 3 cups of domestic vinegar to make Tentacool and Tentacruel limp. While receiving Nastina's 1 million Alliance coin bounty, he sold Tentacool and Tentacruel to make a fortune. Eat 2 for 1 fish. Unexpectedly, a Tentacool mutated. It evolved into a huge tentacruel that was taller than a 10-story building and had astonishing destructive power. The giant tentacruel set off a tsunami, and together with the other tentacle in the group, launched a counterattack against humans. Almost destroyed the entire city. In the end, it was Misty's fearless talk that convinced Tentacruel to leave. If you want to complete the huge Tentacruel event mission perfectly, it would not allow the successful construction of the Paradise Hotel in Naztina at Yumichi Pier. The other party's ability to occupy the coral reef and build a hotel was actually approved by the official permission of Lamperky City. Xiaozhi had tried repeatedly before, but it didn't work to solve it through official force. Officials also hope that after the hotel is established, it will attract a large number of tourists and develop the economy. What does the destruction of the habitats of Tentacle and Tentacruel have to do with each other? Sprinkle some water. Before the disaster caused by the huge Tentacruel, no one would reflect on their actions. How much harm will it cause to the Pokemon that originally lived here? Sighing in his heart, Xiaozhi summoned Flash Gyarados. Riding on its back, we approached the Paradise Hotel under construction and took some photos and videos. Next, these photos and videos can be used in dozens of ways. After doing all this, Xiaozhi rode Flash Gyarados and left near the Paradise Hotel. He plans to find the driven Tentacle and talk to the Tentacruels. His plan also requires their cooperation. On the way to find Tentacle, Xiaozhi met an injured Hai. Like other Pokemon, Xiaozhi is not frightened by this amazing Flash Gyarados. Instead, he kept following, trying to say something. Is this the Horsia that asked himself and Misty Xiaojiang for help in the original plot, and was finally subdued by Misty? Xiaozhi secretly guessed. With the power of Waveguide and Psychic, it was easy to understand what Horsia meant. You are really asking yourself for help. Okay, I know what you mean, Horsia. Now, can you please take me to find Tentacle and Tentacruel? Horsia nodded and swam to Flash Gyarados to lead the way. Not long after, under the leadership of Horsia, Xiaozhi rode Flash Gyarados to find the Tentacle and Tentacruels who were driven out of their homes. With the title of Friend of the Sea and the aura of primary affinity. Although the current Tentacle and Tentacruel hate the humans who took away their homes. But his attitude towards Xiaozhi is very good, and he is very trusting. Xiaozhi had some exchanges with these Tentacruels who were full of revenge humans. Promised them that their homes will be returned to them in 3 days, and no humans will come to disturb you again. To this end, Xiaozhi also disclosed some details of his plan to them, as well as the areas that required their cooperation. Out of trust in Xiaozhi, Tentacle and Tentacruel agreed to cooperate. After solving the Tentacruel side, the next step is Naztina at Yumichi Pier. Horse, thank you. Xiaozhi applied potion to the injured Horsia, but did not let it go. Although the appearance of this Horsia did not meet his standards for taming. But it's pretty good, and it would be nice to take it back and give it to Misty. Xiaozhi takes Mo Hai with him, Return to the private beach contracted by the city itself. It's Horsia. Thank you, Xiaozhi. Misty was particularly excited to receive the Horsia from Xiaozhi. Regardless of the fact that she was wearing a cute swimsuit, she jumped right on. Like an octopus, it clung to Xiaozhi. In Xiaozhi's somewhat surprised eyes, he closed his eyes and gave her a sweet kiss. Compared with the two normal-looking Horsia caught on the Santo, and the Horsia that Xiaozhi brought back this time is pretty good and should be considered to be above average among the tribe. Plus Horsia's rarity. It's simply Misty's dream pet. Delia watched Misty and Xiaozhi's intimate behavior with a smile from the corner of her eyes. He quietly moved away to avoid disturbing the two young men. Although I was a little surprised by Misty's initiative, the meat was brought to my mouth. How can Xiaozhi not eat it? Immediately turn away from customers. Misty didn't let her go until she was out of breath. Although Misty is usually carefree, she is actually very conservative in this regard due to her arrogant temperament. I have rarely experienced such active intimacy. It can be seen that the Horsia given by Xiaozhi was a big surprise to her. 5.8. Xiaozhi seriously doubted that if the two of them were old enough and had done things that exceeded the bottom line. I'm sure to unlock a lot of new knowledge tonight. Ding! Complete the hidden mission. Fateful encounter. Encourage Misty to conquer Horsia at the city's Yumichi Pier in Rampur. Task completion reward. High-quality Horsia Clue 1. Dragon Scale 2. The prop rewards have been stored in the system space and can be taken out at any time. Once taken out, they cannot be put back again. Clue rewards can be used at any time. After use, you will automatically obtain clues to the highest quality Horsia within a 200-kilometer radius and continue to track them. Xiaozhi, who received the system reward, called him a good guy. Fortunately, Horsia was not let go just now. Otherwise, not only will the girlfriend's initiative to kiss her disappear, but she will also not receive such a generous reward. With a sea area of 200 kilometers in radius, this area is not small. The Horsia, which has the highest quality in this entire sea area, must at least start with elite potential, right? Another Pokemon that can be used as the main breeder. And in addition to the rewards for this clue, there are also 2 schools of Dragon Scale. Did you prepare it specially for yourself and Misty's Horsia? After Horsia evolves into Seadra, bring Dragon Scale to connect and exchange. It can evolve into a Water plus Dragon type Kingdra. You know, because a tribute has always been a rare and powerful symbol. And Kingdra species strength is not low, with a full 540 points. A little higher than Xiaozhi in the Kanto region. This is not allowed to open a bottle of champagne. Celebrate it? After solving the huge Tentacruel incident, I will find an opportunity to use this clue as a reward. Chapter 61. The huge Tentacruel, the ultra-ancient Dragonite that rides on the waves. Night, Lampolky City, Nastina Beach House. Nastina closed the store door and opened the cashier. It was full of banknotes, which made her extremely excited. He stretched out his fingers, dipped his saliva in his mouth, and counted today's profits. This is what she enjoys most every day. Tuck, 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 there was a knock on the door. Nastina immediately stopped what she was doing. He raised his head alertly and looked around. After finding nothing unusual, he locked the banknotes that he had counted over and over again back to the cashier. When I opened the door, there was nothing but the envelope lying quietly on the floor. Pick up the envelope, return to the restaurant, and open it at the cashier. After a moment, Nastina threw the envelope in her hand away. The wrinkled old face was livid. Well, my cousin didn't die at Yumichi Pier. I opened such a big amusement park and a luxurious sea hotel, and even wrote a letter to mock my mother-in-law. Want to build your own resort and attract all the tourists from Rampur, so that my mother-in-law's Nastina Beach house will go bankrupt? I can't bear it for a while, but the more I think about it, the angrier I get. Take a step back. The more you think about it, the more you will lose. Nastina immediately opened the backyard door. After finding the Gyarados dive stranded on her backyard beach, the Rocket Trio are forced to work at a restaurant. You 3 are Team Rocket, right? Mother-in-law, I will now pay to help you repair the dive boat. Go and blow up the Yumichi Pier, my cousin's amusement park, and a luxurious floating hotel. When the work is done, I will pay you more, mother-in-law. Upon hearing that they were being paid, the trio of Team Rocket, who were going crazy because of poverty, immediately became confused. Meowth's eyes even turned into the shape of gold coins. Don't worry, Meow. Our rockets are very powerful, and we will definitely be able to complete your request, Meow. With sufficient funds, the Rockets Trio's hands-on ability has been fully utilized. It didn't take long for the stranded Gyarados dive boat to be repaired, and some additional weapons were even installed. Then, the dive boat was driven by human and cat power and headed for Yumichi Pier. Hey Xiaozhi, have you heard? Last night, the amusement park and luxury floating hotel at Yumichi Pier were bombed. Looks like Team Rocket did it. I never thought those 3 people with the same funny characters could accomplish such a big thing. Now Nastina, over at Yumichi Pier, has gone bankrupt. I heard someone said that her cousin here in Lamperchi hired Team Rocket to do it. When Nastina from Yumichi Pier found out, she took out her personal money. Let the Rockets demolish Nastina's beach house here in La Pulse City. Now 2 mothers-in-law are fighting at the beach, and many people have come to watch. On the second day, Xiaozhi got up and took a shower. Misty, who got up earlier than him, finished breakfast outside and ran back happily. Share the gossip she just heard. Really? There is such turmoil between the two cousins. It seems that sometimes family ties are unreliable. As the instigator, Xiaozhi hides his merits and fame and looks like he's hearing about this for the first time. Yeah, luckily this didn't happen in our house. Although my sisters are a little useless, they're still good to me. Misty nodded in agreement. Xiaozhi silently gave a thumbs up to the Rockets trio. Sure enough, the Rocket trio couldn't catch anything but Pikachu. Anything can be done. He only gave some guidance, and the huge Tentacruel incident was mostly completed. The Rocket trio are indeed good people. When it appeared for the first time, I got myself some mission rewards and alliance coins. Later, I came again and gave away an experience package. Now I even do some dirty things that are inconvenient for myself. Not bad. Next time you meet them, you should treat them better. At least listen to them finish their stinky, long lines before blowing them away. But the matter is not over yet. Without Naztina, there will still be Granny Silver, Granny Iron, and Granny Diamond. Let Tentacruel, and the others have the power to scare Lamperchi City and Yumichi Pier. We will not let humans set their greedy eyes on the coral reefs where they live. The price to pay when evicting Tentacruel was too great. When the benefits and risks are not proportional, then no one will try to get there again. You have to find a way to find the Rockets and get their domestic 3 cups of vinegar. Just bring out the giant Tentacruel in the original plot. After the huge Tentacruel appeared in the original plot, Naztina still refused to let go. It's because the Paradise Hotel she invested in and built is almost completed. After investing so much money, let alone Tentacruel, it is huge. Even if a knife was put to her neck, she would not agree to remove it. Anyway, the giant Tentacruel is angry, and it's not just her who will suffer the loss, but the entire city of Rampolki will also suffer. Then of course someone will help her drive away the giant Tentacruel. Very simple reason. Haha, I'm rich. I didn't expect that Naztina from Yumichi Pier would still have so much private money after she went bankrupt. We can build a bigger and more powerful machine to catch Pokemon in the future, as well as the little devil's Pikachu. In a corner of Lampucci City, the Rockets trio were happily counting money. By the way, Jessie Meowth, I met a very strange person during the day who was completely covered up. Asked me to buy a potion that will make Tentacruel limp. James, you don't care if he's weird or not, as long as he makes money. Yeah, James, how much is that person willing to pay? James hesitated for a moment. 5,000 alliances coins. That's not a lot. It won't take long anyway. After counting the money, we will make 3 cups of domestic vinegar. Tomorrow, James, you deliver it to someone. Guaranteed it will be useful. All right, the Rockets trio are scared of poverty, even if they are suddenly rich. It also adheres to the mentality of being ABD if you have money. I quickly went to buy ingredients and made a bucket of 3 cups of domestic vinegar. Time flies, and another day passes in the blink of an eye. As a mysterious person, Xiaozhi bought 3 cups of domestic vinegar from James. I found a tentacle group with 3 cups of domestic vinegar. Let them soak in the bucket one by one. Most tentacles feel a little weak after soaking 3 cups of domestic vinegar and need to rest for a while to recover. And one of them not only evolved into Tentacruel after soaking, the body shape also increased exponentially, as if taking a bulking agent. Even more than the Paradise Hotel before it was bombed. Pokemon, Tentacruel Gigantamax, level 4 good season, 60 feeling the huge, seemingly omnipotent power within the body. Then he looked at the home beneath him that had been recaptured, but had also suffered a lot of damage. The hatred for humans in the heart of the huge Tentacruel was once again ignited. Giving Xiaozhi a grateful look, his huge body swam toward the human city on the shore. People playing on the beach looked at the Tentacruel, which was as huge as a hill, and set off surging waves. Growl suddenly let out a shrill scream of fear. Staff on the beach were also rushing to evacuate the crowd. Those hiding in the buildings were also shivering in front of the tsunami, which was like a natural disaster. Xiaozhi shook his head slightly after seeing the giant Tentacruel's actions. Sure enough, just relying on words won't do. Necessary martial ethics can make people calmly stop and listen to your reasoning. Fortunately, He had expected this and was prepared last night. In the eyes of countless people with horror and fear, the huge tentacruel was not inferior in any way, and the sense of oppression was even greater than that of many figures coming on the waves. Super Ancient Dragonite. Enter. Column. Chapter 62. Hero Xiaozhi. Alliance Official Attention. Wherever the ultra-ancient Dragonite passed, the originally turbulent and roaring waves became crawling and calm like well-behaved cats. The super ancient Dragonite walked towards the giant tentacruel step by step. When passing by Xiaozhi, he stretched out his hand to fish it out and put Xiaozhi on top of his head. As the super ancient Dragonite approaches step by step, the huge tentacruel is so strong and powerful that the tentacles of the Dongan building are a little weak. Pokemon, Super Ancient Dragonite, level IV 80, although the body shape is similar. But just because of his special physique and good luck, the giant tentacruel evolved through 3 cups of domestic vinegar. Compared to Dragonite, which has a long lifespan and has survived from super ancient times to the present day. Weak as children. When a huge tentacruel's eyes fell on Xiaozhi, who was above the super ancient Dragonite. In addition to the previous friendliness, there is also an unprecedented face-to-face attitude. Stepping on the ultra-ancient Dragonite, he came to the huge tentacruel. Xiaozhi looked at the other party. At this moment, he no longer had the feeling of swelling after gaining strength. He nodded with satisfaction. It would be nice to be able to realize the gap between yourself and the super ancient Dragonite. Don't learn from the 2 pillars next to each other. Just after a wave of improvement, the strength expanded so much that it attracted thunder. Finally, the sky cleared up and the rain stopped, and Xiaozhi felt that he was doing well again. As long as I have a whim, I will get a beating and so on. Tentacruel, have you calmed down now? Violence sometimes cannot solve problems. There may not be a Pokemon as strong as Dragonite in the human world, but there are many Pokemon stronger than you. The power you are so proud of now can only be temporarily displayed in Lamperky City. Wait for the Human Alliance official side to react. Guess what's waiting for you? Without you, what will happen to the remaining tentacle and tentacruel people? Sometimes you can't just do things based on your emotions. You have to use your brain. With full martial virtue, Xiaozhi began to reason with the huge tentacruel. He worked hard to complete the task perfectly. If I hadn't been prepared in advance, I would have been almost destroyed by the huge, emotional tentacruel. Whether it's a human or a Pokemon, it's really undesirable to swell up if you have some strength. Dragonite, you watch here and send me to the shore. Xiaozhi patted the head of Dragonite beneath him. Immediately, I felt a gentle force wrapping around me. The whole person is like a fallen leaf in the wind, floating on the beach in the distance. He was greeted by countless people on the beach looking at him like a hero. Just now, it was his boy and the huge Dragonite who prevented a horrific shipwreck from happening. It was the first time for Xiaozhi to receive such a look, which made him feel a little uncomfortable. But knowing what he needed to do, he didn't dwell on it for too long and cleared his throat. The sound seemed to ring in everyone's ears. Who is the mayor of Ramperchi? I am. In the crowd, a fat man wearing glasses and a suit walked forward, surrounded by people around him. At this time, the other party's clothes were slightly messy, and he was no longer as meticulous as before. Looking at the calm sea in the distance, I remembered the huge waves that were more than 10 stories high not long ago. The cold sweat that had just disappeared on his forehead couldn't help but break out again. He stretched out his hand to wipe it, and then came forward with a friendly smile to shake hands with Xiaozhi. Little hero, it's all thanks to you and the Dragonite. If it weren't for you, the fellow citizens and the city of Rampur would have suffered heavy losses. Xiaozhi glanced at the other person's fat hands, which were still covered in sweat and looked greasy. Put your hands behind your back without any trace. Does the mayor know that the Paradise Hotel is built on the Tentacruel's home? Dragonite is just here to help. How to solve the problem depends on you in Rampur City. From what Xiaozhi said, it seemed that he was not ready to completely solve the problem of the huge tentacruel. The fat mayor still had a smile on his face, but a cold sweat broke out behind his back. Think for a moment. Little hero, you think otherwise. From now on, the coral reef and the surrounding waters will be listed as a nature reserve in Ramperchi City. Development and utilization in any form is not allowed. How about I have someone draft the proposal later and submit it to the Alliance official for approval and finalize it directly? Under the expectant gaze of the other party, Xiaozhi shook his head slightly. I don't care, I have to ask how it is. Pidgeotto, take the mayor over to talk to Tentacruel. Xiaozhi pursed his lips toward the distant seaside and then released Pidgeotto. Take the fat mayor, whose legs are shaking like chaff, to the giant Tentacruel and the super ancient Dragonite. After a while, Pidgeotto flew back, grabbing the fat mayor whose crotch was wet. The huge Tentacruel sank into the water and disappeared. The ultra-ancient Dragonite waved to Xiaozhi and walked away on the waves. As for what kind of agreement was reached between the fat mayor and the giant Tentacruel, it is not known to outsiders. Little hero! Little hero! Seeing the huge Tentacruel leaving, the citizens of Lampolky City cheered and splashed. He looked at Xiaozhi with gratitude and respect, a group that embarrassed Xiaozhi. He grabbed his mother Delia and Misty, who were also shouting embarrassing names among the citizens, and quickly left the scene. Mom, Misty, why are you two joining the fun? My Xiaozhi became the little hero who saved the city. From now on, my mother will be the mother of heroes. It's quite fun. Mom Delia smiled at Xiaozhi and said with childlike innocence, my Xiaozhi became the little hero who saved the city. From now on, I, Misty, will be the hero's girlfriend. It's quite fun. Misty followed suit and received a warning look from Xiaozhi. I was so scared that I didn't dare to say anything anymore. The last time I had a power trip, my cheeks were still sore until noon on the second day. I don't dare to be skinny anymore. The fat mayor looked at the enthusiastic citizens around him and felt unhappy. I persuaded the mayor to leave that huge Tentacruel. Why don't you call me a hero? Just because I'm ugly? The mayor's face was as black as coal. Just at this moment, a gust of sea breeze blew by. The wet crotch suddenly felt a little chilly. Yes, let's go. Let's go home and change our pants. A bunch of thugs. Ding! Perfect solution to the huge Tentacruel incident at Rampur's Yumichi Pier. Obtain reward. The title of Friend of the Sea. Huge Tentacruel intimacy increased to 255 points. Cannot be conquered. I can fight for you at any time when needed. Alliance reputation +5. After this battle, your reputation has been widely circulated within Alliance officials, and your requests will be met by Alliance officials as much as possible under reasonable circumstances. After working for a long time, Xiaozhi finally let go of the matter and sunbathed leisurely on the private beach contracted by him. Watching two mermaids, one big and one small, playing in the water in front of you water sport. A message passed through his mind, and he received a reward for completing the task. First of all, the title of Friend of the Sea has been obtained again. From now on, as long as you get one more, you can combine it into a Son of the Sea. Has many more privileges than now, and can command water-type Pokemon in battle. You can also get an additional 20% combat power bonus. In addition, the target has another arrogant Tentacruel. Although the level of the giant Tentacruel is not very high, only IV 60, it has just entered the elite level. But it's not big enough to hold a human body. Pulling it out when necessary can still scare people. Moreover, elite-level Pokemon are already very popular in the Kanto region. The last one, Alliance Reputation +5, is also easy to understand. It's just that Xiaozhi's face has become bigger. You can use special skills to give face in the future. With Alliance, you're no longer a dispensable rookie trainer. But it has some say. If something like Damien or Ma Zhisher happens again, there's no need to contact Professor Oak. His own attitude is enough for Alliance to take him seriously. Of course, Xiaozhi estimates that the relationship between these 5 points of reputation and himself is not very long. Saving a city is a great achievement. But if your own strength is insufficient, at most I will give you some awards. Mainly because his PY object is Super Ancient Dragonite. The Super Ancient Dragonite appeared this time, although there was no battle. But some of the small tricks displayed unintentionally were enough for Alliance officials to realize its terrifying combat power. It should be above the champion Pokemon, and Xiaozhi can produce a mega boss of this level. Even Alliance, he is just a rookie trainer, little Kara. It also deserves enough attention. Just as I was thinking about it, the Pokédex in my hand vibrated. When he opened it, he saw that it was Alliance officials who wanted to reward him for his significant contribution to the city of Rampur. A bonus of 1 million Alliance coins was distributed. It's so cool to establish a PY relationship with a big boss. Xiaozhi was delighted with his sudden fortune. I am quite wealthy. Someone come. Get 2 more Snorlax. 1 into the male and 1 into the female. Chapter 63. Conquering Flash Horsia, Squirtle finally evolved. Spent a few days in Ramperchi City, as I've been busy solving the huge Tentacruel.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.